showing the road. 3-player. Yeah. It's a big hole where Dado used to be. Actually, there's a big hole where Pyro used to be. Technically. Oh god, you guys are in the wrong spots. How did that happen?
We were in the right spots. You checked.
Yeah, I did check. What is wrong with this? I'm gonna fucking cry.
Apparently
God.
I'm Pyro now.
Yeah, you're Pyro. Pyro, you're wacky. Jez is fine. Jez, way to do your part and be fine. God, this is what happens when I get stuck at friggin' work all goddamn night. I have to do this shit all last minute. Cat, you're not helping. Can't see your... Get your furry butt out of the way. Pyro. That's a Pyro. Now there's 2 Pyros and no Wackies. The balance has been thrown off.
Yeah, but there's a bones now, though. Can't you hear it?
Now it's fine. I don't... Why? Why did it do that? Oh. I'm so fucking bad at this. God damn it. Worst streamer. I'm worse than streamer than Leopard. How's that possible? Didn't think anybody could be worse streamer than Leopard. Just to even things out and make myself more like Leopard, at the end of this stream, I'm gonna call up like one of the old streams from my YouTube channel. We're just gonna sit there and watch it.
You're gonna start replaying.
Yeah, I'm gonna start replaying D&D replays live on my stream. That's the way you do it, right? Alright, so previously on Dungeons and Dragons, the party made it to Kirsabal, the home of the Aarakocra, after climbing for hours, except for Dusty. Dusty levitated himself up in a few minutes, but after the rest of them, after climbing the stairs for hours upon hours, finally made it to the top and met with Ashara. I knew I was going to screw her name up. Met with Ashara, the elder of the Aarakocran village up in the monastery. They talked with her. She gave the party kind of the what's what of what she knew. They were like, hey, this guy we saved, he was like, yo, well, you can make us fly. And she was like, yeah, bitch, I can make you fly. But you gotta get me a flower. And the type of flower kept changing like several times throughout the stream. Eventually, we settled on an orchid. I think it's an orchid. I don't know.
It's an orchid.
It's black.
You kept calling it a black lotus because of popularity.
I don't know. Black lotus sounds way cooler than black orchid. TBH. So, you guys were told that you need to travel to a ruined gardens named Nangalore. A site that was once it was a giant, beautiful hanging gardens that was devoted to Zalcore, a former Omuan queen. The gardens were built, in her honor. Speaking of Omuan queens, while you were also in Kursabal, you also met with Princess Mawaksanare and her little brother Na. The princess, an upstart teenager who's hell-bent on reclaiming Omu and bringing it back to the glory that it used to be at. She seemed to have taken quite a liking to Pyro. So Jafar found himself with the princess quite smitten and quite forward with him, which led to some hilarious situations involving the two of them and Dusty and a bed. It was quite entertaining. So after that, you guys headed out as fast as you could. You traveled southwest. And I'm going to clear away so that you guys can see the name of it. Reveal. You guys headed southwest to Nangalore. Might as well get rid of that too. So, when you approached, we'll just sort of go right into it. I'll actually go through the description again since it's been a week. But so you approach Nangalore from the southern face of it, and a fantastic edifice rises up out of the jungle, a hanging garden of exotic beauty. Water streams down the steps between two massive elephant carvings. Beyond them, a broad, flooded avenue runs arrow straight for more than 100 feet before ending at a carving of a Tyrannosaurus face. Water pours from the Tyrannosaurus's jaws and flows the length of the concourse to a drain down the steps in front of you. Or not to a drain, to a drain. 5-foot-high terraces flank the boulevard. Low archways, 3 on each side, are built into the terrace walls. The archways are in various stages of collapse, and the tunnels, as are the tunnels beyond them. Beautifully carved, larger-than-life stone faces are mounted between the arches. A wild profusion of plants grows upon the upper terrace, and multicolored parrots and canaries flit and sing among them. To the north, a dilapidated brick dome rises above the Tyrannosaurus's head waterspout. Smaller bell-shaped domes surmount the highest terraces to your left and right, towards the rear of the gardens. So, when you guys arrived, you guys found a big old pile of alligators. Some crocodiles, or allidiles, depending on which way you swing. They were sort of in the drainage in front of the stairs leading up into Nangalore. After much debate, you decided just to kill them, and that went quite well and easily. So, ahead of you, so Nangalore, the gardens themselves are elevated. The entire gardens itself is elevated, and then there are multiple sort of tiered levels throughout. The first area beyond the stairs lead up to like a main drag, like a boulevard that goes straight about 100 feet or so towards like the Tyrannosaurus head that water's like spewing out of. Basically turning the boulevard into like a river. And then flanking, like basically on the sides of that boulevard, are archways and tunnels. And then there are like, you know, carved visages of some kind in between the archways. So it's about 5 feet up to like that river, to the street, the water street, the main street. And then on top of the thing that the arches are in, that wall, like that's like several feet higher up. Like you can kind of make out from here that there are plants and trees and shit like all over the like sort of the tops of that. And then further out to the sides, it goes higher up still. And then there's like a big domed thing in like the dead center, and then like these tall, like these smaller domed buildings like in the back corners. So it essentially seems to just go up and up to like various different heights. And what would you guys like to do?
Well, first we gotta ford that river. And then...
Well, splashing around, like, during your fight with the crocodiles and that, you're able to figure out that the water in front of the stairs is no more than, like, a few feet deep. Like, it's probably 4 feet deep at the worst spots. And you don't think the water in the street is terribly deep either. You can see some chunks of rubble sort of strewn in the middle of it that sort of suggest that the water's probably only like a foot or so deep up there. Where'd you go, Carl?
Making our way up then.
We're making our way uptown this time.
Yeah. I feel like...
You're not going to be walking particularly fast because of the water. But there will be faces past.
Faces.
So, you guys are heading in.
Mm-hmm.
So, You guys climb the few steps up to the main drag. So, as you move in, you can see that there are... Too bad, I should have called up another version of this map up in a spot that I can see up on my screen. Oh, wait, I can do that. I can do that. I have the power. I don't need you, Chult. So, as you guys make your way... I'm gonna just fucking... I'm a multitask. So as you guys make your way into this boulevard, you can see that there are faces, like big, elaborate faces carved and sort of mounted in between these archways. The archways seem to lead, like it's a stone arch, and it leads to like a tunnel. And the tunnel, like at the very end of each one of these tunnels, seems to be stairs that lead up to the terrace beside you. So essentially it leads up to the area that's directly like left and right of you. So like onto that next level. Like there doesn't seem to be any deviation or like rooms or anything. They're just basically straight shots that lead up to the next level of the gardens. The faces... they portray a regal looking woman whose expression changes slightly with each visage. And you also notice that on, like, carved into, like, the wall beside some of them is some sort of text that you don't really recognize.
Does Dustino comprehend language?
He guys knows comprehend language, I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. Just around the area, are there any, like, plants here yet, or do we gather we'd have to go higher up to find what we're looking for?
Well, yeah, you kind of, like, poke around. Like, there's plants everywhere, but it all seems to be, like, vines and moss, and, like, you probably see bits of flowers. Like, where you are right now is just flood. So, like, there's probably vines and crap, like, that have seemed to have been pouring from the level up above you. And they're kind of just reaching around the walls and kind of dangling down. Just overgrowth, essentially.
So I want to get close to the words while they're looking at everything else.
You know, we're getting close to the what?
The words.
The words?
Yeah, the words we don't understand.
Okay.
We definitely don't understand it. Now that I'm close, I can see that none of us understand.
None of you understand it.
Does Azaka?
Azaka recognizes. She tells you that these words are ancient Omuan. But it's a dialect that she does not know or like understand at all. But she does. She knows enough to recognize this as like an ancient Omuan language.
Then I will cast Comprehend Languages.
For, like, the first time.
Yeah, well, I've cast the other spell a few times. To no effect every time. Actually, the first effect was to...
The duration, understand the
Read
literal
all the
meaning of any
vampire
spoken
dust
language, and understand a written...
I'm trying to get to my spellbook, but it's being slow.
How long does it last? An hour? Cool. Okay. So, you...
Oh. There it is.
So, essentially there are four faces. There's the lower west, the upper west, the lower east, and the upper east. Which one do you want to read?
So, what are the differences in their expression? You said they're all slightly different?
Yeah, just give me a...
Intuition? Or insight?
Yeah, insight. Give me an insight check.
Situation?
Thanks.
Give me an intuition check. Yeah, that'll do.
Good roll for the day.
Alright.
So, yeah, so the one in the lower west has a bemused expression. The one in the upper west has a condescending expression. The one in the upper east has a stern expression. And the one in the lower east has a serene expression.
Well, this is a garden, so I'm gonna go check out the serene expression.
So you go, you do the. It's essentially the first one on your right that you pass by, and you use your spell and read it, and it says, "And may the gods themselves marvel at this humble reflection of her beauty." And I think Jez is muted.
No, I was typing.
he's-
I was typing. Then I
Oh.
muted myself. Then I feel like this is one full, like that's part of a sentence. So I'm gonna have to go to another one.
Okay, where do you want to go?
Let's go to.
You basically have another one
condescending
beside you. Yeah, like on the other side of the street itself is about 20 feet wide, essentially. So there's
What's
basically
the,
two across
one
from
next
each
to
other, and then there's two more across from each other further down.
What's the closest one to us?
So the first one on the left, it reads, "This garden is dedicated to Zalcore, Queen of Omu and Jewel of Chult."
Okay, so it's so far just one really long dedication.
I find the PDF.
I don't know if it matters, but what face is that one? Is that the
Bottom left.
you-
So it's first one on your left.
yeah? But I take it.
What's the
Oh,
expression?
what
The
the expression
expression.
was. That was bemused.
Bemused.
Bemused. Why was it? I have crumbs in my book. I don't. Why? Why would there be crumbs in my?
And I gotta ford the main street to get to the other two.
Please don't open on the right. Oh no! No! Don't break my stream. Why is it
Rip
open?
stream.
I broke the
I'm
stream.
It was
breaking the
lit.
stream. I'm going across the river.
I broke the stream trying to open a PDF in the wrong window. It defaulted to the wrong monitor. So you're checking out the other ones?
Yeah.
One on the left or the one on the right?
The right one.
So the right one has a stern expression, and the message says, "In this, the 10th year of her reign, may she govern forever in splendor." Oh, too far.
And the last one.
So the last one, you see, it says, "Worshipped by her people and by Thirutaya, who loves her." And it seems that the word "loves" has been scratched out, and in bigger letters above it, it says "betrayed."
I'm
I'm
assuming
assuming he
it's
said
betrayed.
betrayed.
Oh, what did I cut out?
Yep.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Son of
I heard
a bitch.
And then it cut out.
Yeah, so it says betrayed. The word "loves" has been scratched out, and "betrayed" has been scrawled above
And who
it
was that
in the
person's
stone.
name?
Thirutaya. Bum, bum. Thirutaya.
Wow. I was so close. By that, nowhere. Here. Okay. I feel like this is useful. And what expression is that one? That probably doesn't matter, but
That one is condescending.
yeah. Okay, then I'm gonna come back to my friends with these notes and say, I think it goes together, but I'm not sure the order.
It seems to
that's
go clockwise from the back left. That kind of makes the
okay.
most sense.
I think it goes like with the "this is who she is" and
Yeah, the guard-
worshipped by all.
Yeah, the garden is dedicated to Zalcore, Queen of Omu and Jewel of Chult. And then worshipped by her people and by Therataya, who loves / betrayed her. And then in this, the 10th year of her reign, may she govern forever in splendor, and may the gods themselves marvel at this humble reflection of her beauty. That seems to be that seems to be the most natural way of the expression sort of stitching together.
So I'm making a puzzle probably where there is none, but in case it comes up, it might be bemused, condescending, stern, and then serene.
Make a note of that.
Probably has nothing to do with the entire thing.
Yeah, so so you guys are standing in about a foot of water. The water going down the main concourse isn't particularly strong. Water's flowing out of that big Tyrannosaurus mouth, like at the end of the road, and it just seems to be flowing into the street, and it's just kind of slowly flowing down those stairs and draining outside of the garden, where you fought those crocodigators. So, yeah, the 6 side branches that lead down these tunnels all seem to be basically the same. It looks like originally they were all roofed over, but 2 of the roofs have completely caved in, and 3 of the others have kind of partially collapsed. So now the roofs that do remained intact have like vines and roots hanging down from them, leading you to believe that there must be some abundant plant life up on top. But and there about a foot of water has kind of flooded them. But they all seem to lead up to the 2 terraces, one to the left of the road and one to the right of the road.
I mean,
Let's
I don't
go
think
left.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same. I don't think it matters for now. Worst comes to worst, we just come back and go to the right one, right?
Coffee. Okay.
Unless there's a fall.
So you guys kind of push your way through some of the debris and make your way up sort of through the flooded passage. At the end, stone steps lead you up into the terrace above. Once you kind of get up there, you notice that untamed overgrowth can't hide the fact that this garden is a haven for exotic plants that don't grow naturally in the surrounding jungle. Unfamiliar flowers, towering ferns, and even stranger plants resembling giant pine cones or lily pads spread and tangle everywhere. Bright canaries flit between them, and parrots with striped beaks squawk at you.
Birdies.
I get the feeling that the plants are gonna attack us at some point. Maybe not yet, but later on they're gonna attack us.
Plants don't attack people. Let's go.
Alright, well,
I guess we're gonna have to cut
have
our
to
way
look around.
in, don't we? Because it's all overgrown.
Well, it's all like it's all kind of spread. Like it's not anything you can't really like. It's not overgrown like over your heads or anything like that. It's probably
okay.
like 2 or 3 feet in some spots. Kind of like it's dense, kind of like the jungle floor has been, as you guys have been like pushing through. It seems like the garden's been unmanaged for a good amount of time.
Like this area shouldn't be garden, but it's garden.
Yeah, well, it does look like it probably used to be garden, but it was probably more, just like a big grass area with trees and plants and stuff like that. Like you do see, like there's a couple of trees here and there, and like some bushes and stuff like that, and like vines have kind of crept their way like everywhere, as like everything has just completely been left to just have at it.
Are there, by any chance, any black flowers?
You guys could spend you guys can essentially spend some time searching through the garden, if you would like to.
How long would it take?
You guys, what I will do is I
really
will
under,
give all of you guys a d20 roll, and that will sort of represent you guys spending like 10 minutes like combing through various parts of the garden. So, who wants to go first?
I'll do
Are
it.
we using any stat, or is it just
No,
flat
just
D20?
give me a flat d20 roll. So, Wacky, you find... Oh god, I also gotta roll for that. Don't make me roll a d4. I'm not prepared to roll a d4.
Oh no.
I don't remember what these are. So you find 2 wild roots. That seems to be the only thing of interest that you find as you scrounge around. You find all sorts of flowers and plants, but none of it really looks like... None of it looks black, and none of it looks very orchidish. But you do find a couple of wild roots. Wild roots being, as I believe Azaka has told you guys before. Yeah, where is Appendix C? God damn it. There. Oh, I had a bookmark in it. Of course I did. Because once upon a time I was organized. Not any longer, but once upon a time. Do you mind? That's distracting.
Mine in there too.
The wild root introduces... Yeah, it is poisoned. So, rubbing it, basically like cracking it open and like rubbing the juice on an open wound,
Like an
or
apple.
like juicing it and drinking it will rid you of poison. Jez, I'm going to make you roll again, because that's going to be more wild roots. And that's boring. So roll again.
Well, does Pyro's 6 do anything?
Oh, I didn't see Pyro roll his 6.
He rolled his after Wacky, so I figured I'd...
Yeah, you were looking at a book.
So, Pyro, you're kind of poking around, and you come to, like, you check out one of the trees, and as you do, you hear, like, some sort of screeching noises. And you look up in the tree, and you see 3 flying monkeys. Like, they're monkeys with, like, little wings on their backs. And they're just kind of, like...
a quick sigh of relief that it's not a Zorbo.
So, they're just kind of hopping up and down, and once they notice you, they start hurling, small fruits, like, at you. And just, like, throwing them at you.
These ones are cute.
Can I catch one?
Sure.
That's the fruit.
I'll just give it to you. They just keep throwing them at you, so you eventually either catch one or just pick one up off the ground. It looks...
The monkey?
What, the monkey? No, the fruit.
Flying monkeys are cute.
Damn. Doesn't tell me what the fruit looks like. I'm going to say it's an orange fruit that seems to have that seems to have quite a bit of juice inside. You know, it's fairly round, kind of like the size of a peach. It probably kind of looks like almost like a shiny, like if a peach was a berry. This is kind of what that looks like. And shaking it around, you can hear some like juice sloshing around inside.
I'll crack it open and take a whiff.
Okay, you crack it open, and it smells sweet. Smells fruity. Sweet and fruity.
I will taste a little bit.
Okay. So you taste it, and it tastes very good. It's like almost like a mango-y type of taste to it. Can you give me a Constitution saving throw?
Damn it, it's on the other side.
At least the dancing.
Pyro.
So,
Except
Pyro, you taste it, and you're like, this is actually pretty good. And then you can feel, like, you don't really notice it at first, but then you notice, like, your arms and legs and that seem to be kind of, like, starting to, like, just shake and twitch a little bit. And after a minute or so, like, you just notice you're just starting to, like, flail around dancing. Like, you're dancing like some kind of crazed monkey. And you don't seem to be able to stop.
It's funny, if I was with you, I would be able to tell you what that looks like.
I danced my way over to like Karen, and I was like, "Help!" What do I do?
Help what? What are you doing?
I don't know. I can't stop.
What did you do?
I
Not even-
I had some of this fruit right here. Try some.
How am I supposed to help you?
So, after about a minute or so, yes. Do. Okay, so after you're finished dancing, so after about a minute or so, like, you can feel, like, your arms and legs start to slow down until eventually you gain pretty much full control of them. And, like, you're relieved. You're like, oh, thank God that stopped. And then you just have this, like, horrible stomach ache. And, you know, you just don't feel good. Like, you don't feel good at all. And you essentially come down with the poisoned condition. So, you are now poisoned.
I will go ahead and burn 5 of my things to, like...
To unpoison yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, you start to feel, like, really ill and, like, nauseous. So you lay on hands yourself to feel better, and it seems to relieve it. And then you were fine.
Funny, because so long ago I bought one of those fruit. I probably could have warned you. But instead...
Yeah, I
Where's-
didn't recognize it as one of that. Because I saw him buy that.
I know, you guys have seen a lot of fruit, and you've eaten a lot of things. You didn't really attempt to look at it. You just monkeys threw it at you. You're like, okay. I mean,
I
if
don't
the
think you're
monkeys
gonna
recommend it.
remember- I don't think you're gonna remember one fruit that I bought a month ago. Or like half a month ago.
So, Jazz, you kind of start heading around to the south end of the terrace, checking out the plants there. As you do, oh my. So as you're checking it out, you're kind of like pulling through like different bushes and like pushing your way in, looking around at stuff, trying to see if there's any black orchids lurking inside. You feel just suddenly something almost rope-like wrap around your throat and begin to sort of.
Told you.
So,
No, it's just my rope.
yeah, so it feels like your rope has just all of a sudden like wrapped around your neck and is starting to like choke the life out of you. But then you kind of like glance down as you're starting to suffocate, and instead of your rope, it seems to be a big green vine. And I'd like you to roll initiative.
All of us are just Jazz.
You could all roll it.
An 18 was so good.
Actually,
I had to re-roll
I'll
it 'cause
give-
it's more wild fruit.
Well, yeah, you guys can all roll it, and what I'll do is I'll get you to make perception checks to see how much he notices. I'm gonna just...
Wow. Big initiative.
Dusty
Wow.
is asleep in a puddle somewhere.
Yeah, that's expected.
Azaka, 14. The vine, the assassin vine, got a 12. I'm just gonna leave it as Crocky Gators just for the hell of it. Oh no, it's not in the visible spot. Oh,
What?
yeah. Oh no, it's the
Oh, the turn order.
turn order was not in a spot that was properly visible on the stream. Gotta at least pretend I know what I'm doing, since I clearly don't know what I'm doing. Pyro, give me a perception check. I will say that is good enough. You kind of poke your head up, and you see Jez about... I'm going to say that you're here, 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 and here. Jez went to the southern end. So Jez is about 30 feet or so from you, and you can see that this big vine seems to have, like, crept up behind him from, like, one of the trees. Like, you see a vine stretching out from a bush nearby, like, going, like, up his back and is wrapped around Jez's throat, and Jez is, like, scraping and clawing at it and struggling.
I will run over and I will hit the vine. I'll try to chop it off.
Okie dokie. Give me chop attacks.
Ooh. 21, that hits for sure.
So, yep, you hit it.
I might have plate armor.
So you chop into it, but this thing seems to be extremely robust and like
Alright.
quite thick. So you basically
will-
cut into it and damage it, but you don't cut through it. Oh no!
I'll do it again. And I'll be looking at like Cass and I'll be like, told you one of them was gonna attack us.
Not sure.
Keep
12 hit.
12 is not gonna do it. The vine kind of snakes back and forth, and you miss. Who's next? Jez. So Jez, you are being choked by this
Do I have to make a
vine.
perception check to know?
No. I'm gonna say you are probably aware.
Then I will use my bonus action to ignite my lightsaber.
Yep.
EM. Is it awkward to attack it, or is it?
You are. What are you? You are grappled right now. Oh, sorry. No, you are restrained.
Yeah.
It is
I
a
think
grapple,
either way.
but you are restrained.
Yeah. So,
God damn it. Of course you're on the other side. Yeah.
in that case,
Yeah, speed
Probably
0,
better
no
to
bonus
slip
to
out.
speed.
actually, last time I tried to slip out, it was useless. So I'm just gonna hit it.
Okay, you have disadvantage for your attack rolls.
Yep.
Waiting on those attack rolls.
I am
There it
too.
is. 14 will hit it. For 14 radiant damage. Like, basically, you swing it. You swing it and try, like, kind of towards your face, but not really. And, yeah, it
Yeah.
still seems to have quite a good hold of you.
And then,
Okay, cattail.
Yeah.
oh, that's still 18.
Yeah, eat my pencil. That's a
Another
great idea.
Another 8 radiant.
Yes, another 8 radiant indeed. Yeah, it still seems to have quite a good hold of you. You are not helping, Cat.
I should have shouted for Karen.
You know, there's an axe.
I probably noticed you fucking clunking your way over.
Yeah, there's
You're
also
on my
that.
dice. I need those.
You know,
Go
there's an
that way.
axe in Curse of Strahd that we should have picked up.
Yeah.
Azaka fails her perception check, so she has no idea what's going on. She's up searching in the north end, and is quite far away from you. So she's just going to continue looking. The Crocogators go, and by Crocogators I mean the assassin vine. So until this grapple ends, target is restrained. Oh, you were supposed to take a whole bunch of damage at the start of your turn, so I'm just going to do it at the start of its turn. You are going to take 66 poison damage.
That's good.
That would have changed my tune, but sure.
Well, you're getting the damage either way. So
Yeah.
I'll do the damage
I
on
get
its
it.
turn from now on, so I won't stack an extra one on you. 17, 19, 20 damage. That seems below average. So 20 poison damage to you.
Barely.
Oh
below.
my fuck! Would you fuck off? Jesus. So yeah, it squeezes you. It cannot grapple somebody else, unfortunately. But what it can do is Pyro is right over here, right? So
Gonna whip him?
so all of a sudden, a bunch of normal vine, like a bunch of smaller vines and roots, all start to kind of like wiggle out of the ground and from the underbrush, all within the area, basically beneath Pyro's feet. So, Pyro, I need you to make a strength saving throw.
God, come on,
Good
Jafar. Strength
Lord.
is your thing.
So, these vines and roots and that all just kind of like snake up and they reach around your legs and your arms and they restrain you. You find yourself unable to move. And it is now Wacky's turn. Give me a perception check, Wacky.
Well, see you
I
guys.
knew I should have called for her.
Wacky, the naturally perceptive one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Jez is just making quiet choking sounds, and Pyro's...
I hear Pyro screaming, but the last thing I saw of him was he was just dancing like
Yeah.
a crazy person, so I
Parents
assume
is
he's still
looking
doing
at the
that.
pretty flowers.
That is
I'm
true.
Looking, I'm looking for pretty flowers.
So, and we're gonna skip Wacky for now. So, Pyro, you have been restrained by these vines.
It's a strength check to get out.
Yeah,
or
so
is
you
it,
can
like,
spend your
attack?
action to try and rip yourself free from these little roots and vines and stuff. Need a
I will-
bookmark.
I will scream, Karen! and I will proceed to help get myself out.
Yep.
You keep saying my name wrong. What do you want?
We're stuck. Cass is dying.
Are you saying your name wrong too?
I'm waiting for... Oh, are you going to try and get yourself out, or what you want to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get myself out.
Okay.
That's a strength save.
Strength saving throw. Actually, sorry. It would be a strength athletics check to try and get yourself out. The first one was a saving throw. This will be an athletics check. So I'll let you re-roll that because you'll get a big bonus to your athletics check, I'm assuming. So yeah, you kind of just tear and just twist around, and you basically start dancing, kind of like you were dancing before, and you just rip yourself free of all these roots and vines, and they all kind of slither, and a bunch of them sort of recede back into the ground. They seem to not like that for a minute. Like, oh, fine. Maybe they're just trying to make friends with you. So, you still have a movement if you want. Otherwise, it is Jez's turn.
No, I'm not moving anywhere.
Okay, Jez go.
Okay, now that I know that these are super poisonous,
It's like choking and poisoning the shit out of you.
yeah, I thought, I can hold my breath, but no, I can't deal with poison. If I try to get out, is it like a normal grapple that I can use either?
Yeah,
Acrobatics?
it is essentially a grapple.
Okay, then
With it-
I'm going to try to slip out using acrobatics.
Okay, you will have disadvantage on, is it dex checks or saving throws? Might just be saving throws.
I think it's just saving throws.
I think
for
it's just
restraint.
saving throws. Dexterity saving throws. So yeah. So you're fine for your check. Yeah,
There you go.
that'll do it.
Yo, the 20s though.
That'll probably do
Yeah.
it. So yeah, you just kind of reach back and tickle the vine a little bit, and it just goes limp for a second, and you just kind of slip out. All of the owning your own ensnaring rope seems to have taught you a thing or two about getting out of these situations.
And then I will heal myself a little.
Okay. Dun, 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 dun.
Next, my turn.
So
So I'll just stay here.
Azaka heard the screaming, and she's like, "Huh? What the fuck is going on?"
Green
So-
animated ropes.
She's a good 50 some odd feet away, but she's gonna loose a couple of arrows at this big viney thing, this ambulatory plant. One's a crit,
Seymour.
one is a hit. She's got a longbow, so I need d8s. No, don't knock my d12 on the floor. Why are you so annoying? Go to sleep. So she hits it for bunch damage. There's now two big arrows just sticking out of this plant as it just flails around. Stop it. Fucking cut it out. Like having a child. That is going to be it for Azaka. Now the plant. The plant kind of recoils a bit, and the big vine thrashes about, and then it just kind of snaps itself like a whip right at Pyro. 25 versus AC.
No. Just say no.
I rolled real good on that one. So you're going to take 12 bludgeoning damage.
-3.
And you are grappled.
God damn it.
So this thing just whips forward, smacks you upside the face, and then like the tendril wraps itself around your throat. And
Is that what happened to me?
essentially, well, this what happened to you was it kind of snuck up behind you and then just slowly like started to go around your throat, and then just while you weren't paying attention.
Like, it's trying to do the same thing.
Oh yeah, it's trying to strangle him and choke the life out of him.
Its poison's worse than its choke.
Yeah, so I'll run his damage properly on Pyro's turn. So on Pyro's turn, he'll eat the grapple damage. Because otherwise I'd have to do it right now, and that doesn't seem fair. Actually, it doesn't seem like that would be any different. Wacky, you hear your friends in trouble. Or you hear Pyro just screaming and going nuts, and you're, I don't know, in trouble.
And then Pyro's quiet.
Yeah, he was yelling and screaming for help, and now all of a sudden he stopped.
Would I, to try to cut this thing, I would need to use a slashing weapon, right?
Yeah, but this thing looks, like, you look over, this thing looks pretty beefy and thick. You can also see, like, 2 arrows sticking out of it, and probably a couple of cauterized looking well, at least one, a couple of cauterized cuts from Jez's weapon, and a couple of slashes from what you would imagine as Pyro's sword. So you don't imagine that this thing is going to be, you don't think just walking over and cutting it is really going to do it. That you gotta, like, hack the shit out of it.
I'll move up so I'm about 15 feet away, and I'll just fire an Eldritch Blast at it.
Yep.
Oh,
shit.
good.
Oh, goddamn! I was supposed to half Pyro's damage. God damn it. Yeah. So those 9s, they no good.
Half my damage?
It's resistant to cold.
Well, I don't have to turn the cold on. It's just slashing.
It's always on.
No, it
Yeah,
isn't.
no, it's always
an
on.
optional thing.
No,
It was optional.
I don't think so.
It was only, I think, Dato's swords that were optional, because that's how 4th edition was. But 5th edition, there's no real
The description you gave me was +1 magic longsword, can make damage cold. Can. Does extra 1d8.
Maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe I made that, because that one's something I just made up. So I may have made that one optional. And like most of the the higher the better weapons you guys got in the other campaign is stuff that I made up as well. So there is actually some that you can in 5th edition turn on and off. Okay. Well, I didn't half the damage anyways because I forgot. So it doesn't even matter.
I just want to note, the sequence of events. Wacky found something that cures poison. Pyro got poisoned, and then used his other method of getting rid of poison instead of the root.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that Wacky found the poison yet. Because you guys are all basically spread out and looked around for stuff.
I know, I'm more laughing at the fact that we found poison.
So, at the start of Pyro's turn, he is going to take, that's very low too, 19 poison damage.
Only 19.
Well, it's 6d6. The mean roll is like 21. If I was going by the book, it's 21. It's twice I've rolled under that.
21.
So
yeah, but you're
gonna take 19 poison damage at the start of your turn, Pyro, and you have a big poisony, spiky, throaty, grabby vine wrapped around your neck.
And I can make an athletics check to get out.
You sure could. Athletics or acrobatics.
I will do athletics.
Okay. Yep, that'll do it. You just basically brute force the thing open enough to like slip your head back out of, and you are free. Your neck's probably all like red and sore and kind of blistered from the poison.
Poison burns.
I will heal myself for 10.
Well, I think it's an action
That
to
would
use
be
your.
an
Right. So
It was an action to get out of the. You can move, you can bonus action, and that's about it.
That's the advantage of grapples, is that the
I
person being
will.
grappled has to use their action to get out.
I will prepare dodge. Then
That is
That's
also
also
an
an
action.
that was bonus.
Basically can't do anything.
Okay, then I will.
That'd be
stare at
super
it
OP
very
if it was a
angrily.
bonus. 'Cause then everybody
You
would
can
do
make
it.
your vow of enmity. That's
I'll
about it.
stare at it very angrily,
Yep.
and I will intimidate it.
Well,
Good thing
Nice
it's
20.
sentient, but it doesn't have
Yeah.
intelligence.
yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't. It doesn't have any languages or have any. It doesn't seem to really possess thought. Unfortunately for you, it's more just
It's
instinct.
still afraid of me now.
It can't be afraid. It's probably immune to fear.
Afraid.
So, anyways, Jazz go. Jazz go.
I'm gonna take some Kylo Ren style swings at it.
Okay.
Oh,
Really
okay.
glad I'm ranged now.
Jeez. You're so slow because you fuck with the settings.
Who? What? Roll 20 did?
No, Windows. Fuck
Oh.
with the-
Yeah, that ain't gonna do it. Which is a
That's a
shame. That was
common
good
red
damage.
Hey, at least Pyro wasn't still restrained by it.
You rolled higher damage than your attack roll.
See if I can do it again. Yep.
Well, it's better.
Yeah.
Not good enough, but it's better. Zaka is going to move. Zaka's going to move in a little bit. She's going to encroach in another 10 feet or so, and she's going to make 2 rolls. Poopy, I don't have Zaka's. I don't have Zaka's stat sheet on me. That's a player's handbook. That's not useful. There's no were-tigers in there. Lycanthrope. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, were-tiger. Aha.
There's the weird tiger.
Aha. Where's your bloody
Hey.
longbow?
The answer
So
to
a hit and a
weird
miss.
tiger is in the book.
So she's going to put another arrow in it. Or maybe perhaps she just sort of fires an arrow and it just kind of grazes it. Does a bit of damage, but not anything too spectacular to write home about. I usually actually... Oh, bloody hell. Oh, god damn it. I was hoping I'd have a minute to fix what I just did, but I have to go as the things. That's what I get for using the book that has all the pages falling out of it. I need like a way bigger... I need an L-shaped desk just so I can put a whole bunch of books out. That's what I need. The vine. Because of Pyro's crit on his Intimidate, it's going to go after Jez again. And I roll really well. 22 versus AC.
Yeah, it's gonna hit.
He doesn't even have
What's
that
your
big of
AC,
a...
Jez?
Hmm?
What's your AC? Keep forgetting,
Right
19?
now, it is 17.
Never mind.
Because caught unaware, I definitely would not have my shield out.
Okay.
So, Jez, you're going to take 9 bludgeoning damage. And you are grappled.
Just going between the two right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was going to go after Pyro again. And then Pyro kind of scared it off and went after Jez.
Alright, same thing.
Like the paladin he is. Doing
Yeah.
his best to
That's a bit better
protect
than
his
last time.
party. So you fire a couple force blasts at it and it staggers. And it kind of like...
It was undead.
It wiggles around, and it seems to be like not moving around quite as fast as it used to, but it is still alive. That would take us to Pyro.
And I will try to cut it.
That is definitely a hit. It is waning, but it is still has a hold of Jez.
Check out the juices.
And that is not a hit. Unfortunately for Jez.
You're only gonna roll 23.
Only.
So, on Jez's turn, 11 plus 10, 21, 21. I'm doing really bad rolling d6s tonight. So 21 poison damage to Jez.
That one's average.
19, 20, and 21.
Yeah, no kidding. God damn it.
The
But
more
it
dice
is,
you have, the more average it's gonna be.
it is your turn. It doesn't feel like it's gripping your throat quite as tightly as it was previously. Perhaps some of its strength has been lost by the fact that there's just gashes and arrows sticking out of it, and you feel much of its strength has left it, but it's still got a hold of you.
Do I feel like it means I could slip out easier, or does it mean that it's almost close to death?
Yeah, you think that it's probably somewhat close to death. You can't imagine it being too much tougher than the beating you guys have given it. There's just gashes and holes in it all over the place, and
Give it some more flurrious slashes. That was slices and slashes in one word.
attacks with disadvantage. That's a hit. So you
Better
cleave
with
it.
disadvantage.
Despite the fact that this thing's got you by the throat, you can't really see all that well. You sort of deftly aim for a spot that like Pyro had already been hacking at, and you manage to cleave through it. And it flops to the ground and then just kind of shakes and twitches around. And it is dead. Congratulations. It is dead.
That thing was poisonous. Don't touch those flowers.
Got it. You guys need any healing?
Yeah.
So
Probably.
I will roll. So as you guys, while this was going on, I guess for Dusty / Azaka, I will roll. I'll roll for Azaka. Jesus Christ. Why am I rolling so many 20s for fucking her? So Azaka, after you guys sort of patch yourselves up, Azaka basically calls you guys over and says she thinks she found something. Basically, I'll let you guys deal with what she found.
Okay.
Yeah, this one's for Pyro. Oh, well, that's a 3.
That's okay.
What are you staring at, Cat?
Okay, let's go. Let's go see what
give
Azaka's
myself a
got.
10. My healing word. My.
I'm gonna noticing that places are a little bit more dangerous. I'll pull out my shield.
Yep.
I thought it was just gonna be flowers. I wanted a nice, calm flower.
Well, it was a plant.
Yeah, but
You got attacked by a plant. I mean,
it didn't have any flowers on it.
I don't know. Well, then, I
maybe
feel
if
like
you followed the
never gonna
vine
be
back
that
to where it
simple.
came from, maybe there was flowers on that part.
Yeah, okay, let's go to Azaka.
So, Azaka basically, she's like fixing up a couple of arrows after the fight and like just sort of putting her bow away. She kind of points over to some bushes. It's like, I think I found something in there, but then you all started screaming. So, enough time to see what it was.
Was it moving?
She just kind of shrugs at
Or
you.
was it a plant? Okay.
I'm gonna take the tip of my sword. I'm gonna put it in the bush and shake it a little bit.
Okay, so you stick your sword in the bush and shake it. Some leaves
Right.
fall on the ground.
These birds aren't attacking you. Why are you stabbing the brush?
Yeah, that's a good point. There's probably like a bird or two that you scare out of like the bush that goes flying off in a
Not
panic.
stabbing it. I did it slowly. I just like a stick. I just like shaked it around.
Well, that would still scare the bird off.
Alright, I'll take a look at what's in there.
So you sort of poke your head into the bush and you find what looks to be a rotten corpse of a
Oh.
what looks
Oh,
like a
God.
human being. You see like a rotten corpse dressed in some kind of robes,
Don't stand
and
by me, shit.
it looks exactly like Dusty. No, that'd be funny. You do notice this huge red welt or I guess not, because it's rotten way past that point. But you do notice that the area around the neck is a lot more like narrow and caved in looking. You imagine maybe this thing had been killed by whatever you guys just fought.
Listen, we're finding these things in reverse order that we need to. Just so you know.
I see that and I just jump back. It's like, I guess, just because we got rid of the one over there doesn't mean there can't be another one here. There's a body in there.
Is
Probably would have been beneficial to us if we found that before you went and checked out your vine friend.
Well, essentially all this got found at the same time. There wasn't really an order to it. Like, you guys all just sort of split up and looked for like 10 minutes, and this is what you came up with.
Yeah, I know. I'm just making a joke at the order that we find things.
Is there anything distinct about the robes?
No, they just look... They look wizardy, but they're all torn up and tattered, and some of the material's probably rotten away. It looks like this body's been here for a fair amount of time.
If he looks like a wizard, check see if he's got a book.
Alright. I'll reluctantly do that. I'm not
Well, I
great
can
around
look.
bodies.
I could look if you don't want to.
I'm already over here. Oh, well.
So, you going through his bag, you sort of search through, you find a bunch of like old rotten parchment and stuff like that, stuff that's way too past gone to figure out like what it was on it or what it was. You do find a scholar's pack. So essentially like the scholar's kit out of the handbook. You find a small leather pouch that's kind of moldy in that, but it's got 15 gold in it. And you also... you find a box that seems to be 6 inches by 6 inches by 12 inches, made out of wood, with a bunch of carvings on the sides of it. Carvings with nautical themes.
Oh,
And the box looks fairly pristine, like it has managed to survive all this time without rotting.
I feel like there's something I'm missing because you guys are laughing.
Every time.
I wish Bones was here.
Every time there's a box, it's always a fun thing.
Do I know what this is? Can I, like, roll anything to see?
Give me an Arcana check.
All of us, or just her?
Just her, she's looking at it.
You've heard it's an item that not many people really come across in their travels, but you have heard of it before. You believe it is a magical item known as a folding boat.
Alright, so...
Fucking folding boat.
Hey, at least this time the folding boat will probably be used more for boat things.
I'm never gonna be rid of those stupid folding boats.
I'm gonna toss the pouch to Cass. I'll be like, I found a box.
15 gold.
15 gold.
15 gold.
They're like, what's
Hey, guys,
in
we
the
lucked out.
box?
A boat. Supposedly. I've never seen one or used one myself.
Do I know what a folding boat is?
Oh, that folds. It's in the name.
Give me an Arcana check.
Heard stories about this
It's
stupid
probably
adventuring
gonna be
party
a higher
that
DC
threw a
for
boat around.
Pyro. Yeah,
8.
her being... Yeah, no.
I'm
Like, how can you fold a boat? Boats are made out of
Yeah,
wood.
Charon, are you like insane? Boats don't fold.
No, I'm
Like, if it
fucking
folded,
with
it
you.
would
It's just a
break.
box.
As a box, you're crazy.
I'll say you wander back down the stairs and fucking wake up Dusty and get him to spend a few minutes casting Identify on it just for the sake of it. He's able to tell you, as he goes back to sleep, that, yeah, it is a 6-inch wide, 6-inch deep, 12-inch long box that weighs 4 pounds, and the box You also notice, as you kind of put it down for a second, that the box also floats. It is light enough that the box itself does not sink. You know
Vote for
that
ants.
he is able to tell you that the box has 3 command words. One of them causes the box to unfold into a boat 10 feet long, 4 feet wide, 2 feet deep, with a pair of oars, an anchor, a mast, and a sail, which is big enough to hold up to 4 medium creatures. You can also transform it into... You know what, just for the sake of it, I will say it can hold up to 5 medium creatures, just because there's 5 of you. 4 of you in Azaka. Just for the hell of it. You can also transform it. There's another command word that turns it into a ship, 24 feet long, 8 feet wide, 6 feet deep, with a deck, rowing seats, 5 sets of oars, a steering oar, an anchor, a deck cabin, a mast with a square sail that's able to comfortably hold 15 medium creatures. And there's also another command word that just folds it back into the box.
Jesus, okay.
So it can become like a rowboat. It can become an actual sail, like an actual ship, or it can just be folded back into the box. He's also able to tell you that when it becomes a boat, whatever size boat it becomes, it gains the weight and density of a vessel that size.
Guess it's not a 4-pound boat.
Because fuck physics.
Yeah, no, it just... So when you turn it into a full ship, it gains the weight of a full giant ship. But once it folds back into the box, and anything inside the boat is like kept inside it when it folds up, as long as it is able to also fit inside that small box. So if you had a few gold or something like that, or like some notes or something like that, they would get folded up and tucked away. But if you had like a battle axe, when the ship folds up, the battle axe would just basically get spit out because it can't fit in the box.
I'm gonna look at like Dusty in disbelief, just like, how is that a thing?
Yeah, he just kind of shrugs at you and goes back to sleep. He's like, oh, it's a boat. It folds up. That's a folding boat. That's how they work.
Alright, well cool, we have one of these now. Unless one of you wants to hold on to it, I guess I'll put it away.
Look at Kron and was like, you would find a magic item, wouldn't you?
You found that 50 gold nugget before. Totally worth all the effort we went through. Alright, so I gather there's nothing on this terrace that we've been investigating. So
Nope.
we should go look at the other one.
That is all you've been able to find.
Okay, so I guess we just... Unless there's a way to get to the right wing from here,
So,
go back down the stairs.
so essentially,
back
there is a, like, on the... Because you guys are on the western terrace. The northern edge of this terrace and the western edge are about 10 to 15 foot high just stone walls. Like, just flat walls that seem to lead to higher parts of the gardens. But there's no access or anything in this area. You also notice, you can tell, like, in the very front corner, like the southwest corner of the gardens, you're able to see from kind of down where Jez was getting attacked. Up on the top of the Western Dome, yeah, so up on the top of that higher up platform, so about 15 feet above you, you can kind of make out what looks like some sort of dome. And there seems to be like big gigantic spider webs kind of like all over it, and then the webs kind of spread out from the dome. One of them, probably like a big chunk of it, probably attaches to a tree that's right next to the wall, like a tree that's growing from the level you guys are on. So there's some kind of small dome, like almost like a gazebo type thing.
I have very strong Barovia flashbacks.
But yeah, it seems to be covered in just like thick spider webs.
Oh, good.
We're like, let's
So
not go.
that's
there.
probably the only thing you are able to see from here. And you, of course, you've got like at the dead center, you can still see like just the big gigantic dome. Like this thing's like 100 feet wide almost by, like whatever, 100 feet wide by 75 feet deep. Like this just big domed building that's just dead center in the middle of the gardens.
Literally right after I say let's not go there, I feel like going there.
Yeah, so from where you guys are, yeah, there doesn't seem to be any natural path. Like there's no stairs or anything up to that next level. There's vines and crap all over the place that you could probably climb up there if you were so inclined, but there is no natural walking path that you can see.
All right.
I will say from here you can also kind of see the eastern terrace, like across the street from you, seems to be very similarly designed to the way you are now. You do, I will say, you do notice a stairwell on the eastern side. On the eastern terrace, on the northern wall, there's stairs that lead up into the northern wall and through an archway. So there does seem to be a way up further on the other side. When you guys approach the area where the stairs should be on your side, you just find big rubble. So like it seems like there was probably a stairway here as well, but it's just caved in and impassable. And it's just gone. It's just gone.
Alright, then we gotta make our way over to the eastern terrace and look around there.
Let's go back down the stairs again.
Yep.
Wave to Dusty on our way past.
Dusty's like not
Yeah,
at all paying attention.
Yeah, Dusty's asleep. He's fast asleep.
And to the right stairwell then.
So, you guys climb on up. Is there any more Omuan text that I missed? I don't think there was. Yeah, so you guys head up into the eastern set, and you guys, if you want, can split up and start looking around again.
Can we look around without splitting up?
You can, but then essentially
You get one check.
you guys will get one roll instead of multiple rolls.
Listen, assassin finds can't assassin twice.
Is Jeff's camera frozen?
Yeah, it's frozen.
Where's my camera frozen?
Oh.
I know.
Oh, all of you are frozen on my screen. I think it's your problem.
Alright,
Clearly not.
I'll at least go looking around for something.
Yeah, I guess.
Why did I just suddenly talking out of nowhere?
So, Wacky, Spencer, goes off, spends her 10 minutes looking around. You find a lot of similar plants and trees and bushes and that as you found on the other side. As you approach one flower, though, it seems to start to, quiver and shake. And then as you
Oh, there he is. There was almost two Jezzes, and now there isn't.
Hopefully
That fucked up the layout.
Yeah, it probably
Yep.
fucked up the layout.
Sure did.
You bet you can't just drag me in the right place in here.
Where is he now? Who is he?
He's you, you're me, and I'm him.
Whatever.
If you leave,
Fuck it.
Jackie, and then Pyro leaves, and then
I'm still correct. That's what matters. You guys can just beat each other. I
if
don't
you
care
guys
anymore.
I think if you guys leave and then you join in Wacky and then Pyro order, it'd work out just fine.
That's fun. If I have a minute, I'll just swap them around, if you guys are looking for something or discussing something.
So
It's not the biggest deal.
Well,
yeah,
they're all
so
on the screen right
Wacky,
now.
yeah, so the flower starts to twitch, and as you kind of steady yourself and kind of get ready for something to grab you by the throat and choke you, it suddenly bursts open, and this tiny, little pixie with, essentially big bushy black hair and like a white stone face. Just kind of bursts out, and it kind of twitches around, and then it just flies away. You would recognize it as a chewinga, because this is not the first time you guys have run into them now.
Well, we haven't run into a chewinga. We've just have the
Down their
little
statue
stones.
things.
I
Yeah.
thought you guys also ran into a real one. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Nope.
Well,
Dusty.
shit.
You said Dusty has, I think.
Oh, probably. That's probably what I'm thinking of.
Because he
But
was
yeah,
the one that recognized what it was.
But yeah, you guys were told that the statues were chewingas, and yeah, this thing looks like the little statue you found, and it just kind of flies off into like one of the trees and disappears. So that's what Wacky finds. Other than that, she doesn't really find anything of use or value.
Yes,
gonna-
I will go.
After that, I'm gonna go over to where Jez is.
Fine.
Well, it depends if Jez is.
It's all happening at the same
Yeah,
time.
it's all
Ah,
simultaneous.
okay, right.
It's just that I can't resolve 4 different things
Yeah,
at
yeah,
once.
of course.
So Jez, what do you do? Oh, never mind. Pyro rolled
Pyro's
first.
Already rolled.
So Pyro, you find some tasty looking roots after digging around for a few minutes.
Have you learned your lesson? Or are you gonna eat them?
These look,
Tasty looking.
yeah, they seemed. You would recognize this is probably something
Like carrot.
that you've come across maybe once in your travels, or that Azaka's pointed out. They are Ryath roots. Give me a D4 roll. I don't feel like looking for mine.
You'll find 3 Ryath roots.
The 2.
So you find 2 Ryath roots. You remember Azaka telling you about them. Any creature that ingests a Ryath root gains 2d4 temporary hit points.
Oh, cool.
Any creature that consumes more than 1 root in a 24-hour period must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be poisoned for an hour. So she's told you that, yeah, these things will fill you with like vigor, and you'll feel more sturdy and durable when you consume one, and you'll just feel way better. But if you eat more than one without letting it go through your system, you can get real sick. Real sick.
Quick.
It's
Ick.
how much temp HP?
2d4.
2d4
Here's me.
I'm skipping that one. So, you find an Almirage.
You're joking.
Nope. So Jez kind of slowly he's probably moving a little slower and a little more cautiously than he was before. And he kind of pokes his head through the bush and peers around, and there is one Almirage just kind of sitting there chewing on a couple the vines or bits of moss. It's probably about 15 feet away from you, give or take.
Is it... Did I have to, Is it hidden if I am not here? Or is it potentially find-outable by someone else?
It depends on where it runs off.
Namely Pyro.
Well, I don't want it to
You
run off.
don't think it's not on the beaten path.
Okay.
It's off in a corner somewhere,
So Pyro would
behind
have to
some
look to
bushes.
find it.
No, Pyro, unless you tell him, because no one's gonna come around and retread your steps and look at all the stuff you looked at, because we're pretty sure that we're pretty sure there's enough trust within your group that it's not is he hiding something? What did he find?
How close to the
Vidania's not here anymore.
how close to the edge of this dome are we? Is there plenty of area?
Oh, well, you're away from the Spider Dome. The Spider Dome was on the western
No,
side.
no. I mean.
Oh,
this
the
dome.
big dome.
No, we're in the dome, right?
No, you guys are
Terrace.
you're on a terrace. You're essentially on just a big flat,
Oh,
garden-y area. Where did my map go? The map.
but is there room for it to run in the opposite direction of the rest of my group?
Yeah, you got. I would say you're probably looking towards the southern end. There's like a big tree it can like run around, and you imagine it probably.
As a,
It could run down one of the sets of stairs through the water. Like that's probably how it got up here. Was climbing like a big vine that has crept all the way down to the water below, or it might have like swam up through the. I mean, it's like 3 feet. This thing's 3 feet long. It's a big ass bunny.
then I'm gonna quietly go, shoo, shoo, run away before anyone sees you.
So
I'm not gonna eat every single one of them.
So it like
Well,
its head just darts up and it like freaks the fuck out and scrambles around. And
You know what? Do I hear it freaking out?
It's
give me
still bunny.
give me a perception check. You probably catch a very faint glimpse of something just dart off through the bushes away from Jez. It looks like Jez scared something away, but you have no idea what it was. But it looks like he scared something off.
I'll shrug and I'll ask him. I'll ask her about it later.
Non-flying monkeys.
Maybe he saved you from something. Does Zaka find anything? Manga bush. The fuck is a manga? Okay, so yeah. Azaka, you see, like, when you guys probably finish up and you sort of, all of you kind of gather back towards the center where you came up. And, like, as you do, you notice Azaka's, like, picking some leaves off of a plant and kind of stuffing them into a sack. She tells you that she found some manga leaves. She tells you that dried leaves of a manga bush can be ground, dissolved in a liquid, heated, and ingested. And a creature that ingests 1 ounce of leaves in this fashion regains 1 hit point.
So it's tea.
Essentially, it's healthy tea.
Just
Oh,
really
neat.
slow.
So she
We'll
she
have
gathers like a big bag of them, and
An ounce is a decent amount
yeah.
for leaves.
She does explain to you guys though that like eating like the roots that Pyro found, eating too much of them can be quite hazardous to your health. But
Yeah. Like, that's almost a small salad.
good for what ails ya. But it's only well, it's an ounce, yeah. But you have to dry the leaves out
Yeah, I
and
know.
crush them up and basically turn them into a
Is it an ounce of dried leaves?
yeah. Well, an ounce of
Yeah,
leaves. It's probably an ounce before they're dried. I would
Okay,
imagine.
that makes more sense. Anyways,
Maybe it refers to an ounce of leaves after they've been put into a liquid.
liquid ounces. If it was, it would be ounces with a little dot at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either way, she finds
Oh.
useful leaves, but
That's all
no
we
trace,
find.
no trace of a black flower whatsoever. You
They
do
probably
notice,
are in the queen's special areas.
yeah. So you do notice that there is another dome, kind of similar to the spider dome you saw on the other side. This one being in the bottom right corner of the terrace, up on the sort of higher ledge to now on the east side. That dome does not seem to be covered in spider webs. It basically looks like a big round stone gazebo type thing. You can't really tell any other details about it from here, or like what's inside it, or what the purpose of it is, but you can see that it's there from this vantage point.
Is there stairs to this one?
No, there are some stairs going into the north, though. So essentially you have a big wall. The whole eastern side of this terrace is a 15-foot wall, and then the whole northern part is a 15-foot wall. The northern part, like on the other side of the wall, is like the dome, the base of the giant dome in the center. So you imagine that the stairs at the north end here must lead you towards the dome somewhere, because that thing is pretty close to the other side of the northern wall.
Okay.
The way it seems to work, as far as you guys are able to tell, like there seems to just be the highest points, which are 25 feet above the forest floor, they basically run front to back, like from the southern end of the garden to the northern end. Then there's these little gazebos at the southern end, and then these big, huge domes, like big 40-foot wide, like 40-foot wide, like 40-foot diameter domes at the northern ends. Like those must be more important than these little gazebo things.
Yeah, my head.
And then you guys are essentially in a low section in like the front half, almost half of the gardens.
Okay. Yeah, in my head it was completely different. I was thinking that this was like a little entryway, and then it turned into like 4 domes, like a. I'm thinking like the gardens from Prey. Did you play Prey?
No.
That didn't help.
Alright, well, we got another way up. So I guess we're going that way?
Yeah. Rather than trying to climb ourselves.
So
Yeah. That's not gonna
you
work
guys
out
climb the stairs and push into the next section. As you kind of start going through the archway, you find yourselves at in just dense bush. Like it seems to be all these like almost like palm fronds, these like 3 fronded plants that are just all packed into this small section. As you kind of climb in, you notice some stairs going up in the northeast corner. Like you guys basically walk in and you're almost right up against another wall, like right away. And the wall in front of you seems to be the base. Like the wall in front of you at the top of it, which is about, like this is about 10 feet high. So like right at the top of that 10-foot wall, you see kind of a big, I think it's like a big like elephant head kind of sitting on top of it, and that seems to be sort of like almost like a foot of the giant dome in the center. You also see some stairs. Basically, you guys shuffle along a bit, and then it's like a small square little terrace, or not terrace, little courtyard thing that you're in, with some stairs leading up to the top level that you guys have seen from down below. But you're gonna have to just sort of like push your way through this just densely packed garden of some kind. It all seems to be the same, just sort of tri-frondy plants.
I
Okay.
guess we do that. We push our way
Let's make
through.
our way through to the stairs.
Okay.
Watching out for thick vines.
So as you
Anything
guys
else?
push on through, all of you guys start sort of pushing on through, kind of trying to like creep past all these plants. And I'm gonna say that beats Wacky's AC. Wacky, you feel something that's just sort of like sting you or bite into you, as it seems one of these flowers has lashed out and attacked you. And it... Oh, I should figure out which one of its blossoms it hits you with. Yellow blossom. So you feel something sting, and I need you to make a dexterity saving throw. So that is fine. So you feel sort of like a corrosive, like almost like sap kind of come out of this thing as this like flower kind of like rams itself into your arm, and you kind of pull back just in time as this big glob kind of comes out of the cup, like the bell part of the flower, and just kind of oozes onto the ground and like sizzles as it hits like the dirt, making a very acidy kind of sizzle on the ground. So I would like all of you guys to roll initiative.
Wow. 19 again. Damn.
Plant got a 9.
Better than last time?
Can I edit this? No, I can't. Fine. Plants. I'm just gonna leave plants as my generic. And Azaka
By
got
far, it was so right.
12.
I told you. He's gonna be like, I told you.
So yeah, you guys
Like it.
like you're all kind of in the middle of this little area, this little courtyard. It's probably only about 20 feet wide by 20 feet deep. Like it's like a 20 by 20 room essentially with a staircase in the northeast corner that leads up and out. And you're all kind of just caught in the middle of this thing, and you're just surrounded by these plants. They're kind of everywhere. There's probably like a dozen or so within reach of the lot of you. So Jez, what do you want to do?
Guess I have to start attacking these things. Cut off the flowers. Just as a note, Wacky, what are you adding to your initiative? Because I think you're actually going to get one more to that.
Oh, I mean,
It's
there's 3.
it's a dex check, and you have jack of all trades.
Oh, do I get that on initiative as well?
So on all checks that you're not trained in, and you're not
Oh,
trained in
neat.
initiative.
Okay.
It's not gonna matter here.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna start trying to lop off some of these flowers.
Okay.
In normal. Why are you taking so long?
Yeah. So you slice into one and cleave into like its bell-shaped body, and all the flowers just kind of twitch around and flail about painfully, but it's still alive.
Are these like big stemmed flowers with lots of multicolored flowers onto it?
Essentially, it looks like almost it's like almost like a natural pot, kind of like a palm tree base almost, and then there's these 3 multicolored flowers that are all growing out of the top of it.
Okay.
So it's like this bell-shaped plant, and then out of the top of it are like these sort of snaking tendrils with a big colorful flower. There seems to be a yellow flower, an orange flower, and a red flower growing out of each one.
It's like a plant beholder.
Kind
So
of.
there's only 3 flowers?
Yep, each one seems to have 3 flowers.
Gonna attack that same one since it was still.
Okay. So you cut into it, and you manage to cleave the flowers off. And it doesn't seem to be all that useful anymore.
Which one was that?
The orange.
One of no, that's just each plant has 3 flowers, and there's
Oh, I see.
12 plants surrounding you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
The 4 of you are basically kind of crammed together in the middle, and there's essentially 3 on each of you.
3 flowers or 3 plants?
3 plants. So
I'm gonna
6
action
flowers.
surge.
So
instead,
9
and
flowers
I'm gonna
technically.
Keep swinging.
But the flower is not an individual monster. The plant is an individual monster.
I'm going to the next one.
Because you're using your thingy.
Action surge, yeah.
Yep. So you cleave into the next one, and it dies.
And then the third one near me.
Yeah, you cleave into that one, but it is still alive.
That's fine. I did some work.
Who's next? Pyro's next.
So I can hit the base plant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will do so. Yeah.
So you
They are
smack
not
it.
sturdy.
You smack it in the side, but you don't really cut into it very well. You kind of hit it with like the flat of your blade, and it didn't seem to do much.
That's a little bit better.
So you take another swing at it and cleave it, and that plant just kind of like collapses to the ground.
That's all I can do.
Wacky, what do you want to do?
And just shoot Eldritch Blast at one of them.
Well,
Oh, that's good.
those will be with disadvantage since you're trying to blast things that are
Right.
right in your face.
Really?
That's how
Oh, well,
spells work.
That's fine.
So you still hit him. The 10's not going to do it, but with your second shot, you managed to blow
What,
up
10?
one of the plants.
10. What
The
10?
first one does 10 damage.
The first one does 10. I'm keeping your
He's
damage
taking the
rolls.
damage
Oh,
from the
right,
first one.
okay.
I'm just using your other ones for the second roll. So you blast one of them to pieces. That means it's Azaka's turn. Azaka does the smart thing. She disengages. And she just kind of squirms out and gets herself up the stairs. And then she kind of just crouches at the top of the stairs with her bow out, ready to fire at like all the plants that are attacking you guys. So Azaka got herself out of harm's way. Now for a whole bunch of plants.
It'd be 8, I think.
So one on Jez. Oh, it gets 3 attacks, one for each blossom. Oh, this is gonna be fun. So first one misses, second one misses, third one misses.
Can I riposte it?
Sure. Oh, I'm not rolling an attack roll for all of these. So one of them I'm rolling an attack roll and it misses. So you can do your thing. That is a hit for 11 damage, and you cut it down.
Oh,
so I will
15. Whatever. It's not
No.
any sign.
No, 4 and 11 or 4 and 7 is.
Oh, sorry, I looked at the attack.
So I'm not going to bother with what its other ones do. So we'll just move on to Wacky. So I'll do the two weapon hit ones first. One's a 16 versus AC. One's another like a 10. Yep.
And it's not gonna matter because I'm pretty sure it'll be
Okay. So both of those. So both red blossoms missed. The orange blossoms. Give me Constitution saving throws. Give me 2 of them. Your first one's good. Give me another one.
Mm-hmm.
So you have been poisoned for 1 hour as the orange thing just kind of just coughs up some kind of orange pollen in your face. So you are poisoned. You can repeat saving throw. At the end of each minute. Oh, my bad. While poisoned this way, the target is unconscious. So Valaki, you just kind of fall asleep and just
That
drop.
Changes things.
You have a bit of a dusty moment, and
Oh,
you just
boy.
kind of collapse to the ground. Every minute you can attempt to make your saving throw again.
Oh, I'm gonna be out for a while, guys.
Is that every
So,
turn or every?
The two,
That's every.
no, that's
every
every
10
10 turns. So the yellow blossoms then just kind of ooze onto you. Is it an automatic fail to a dexterity saving throw while you're unconscious? I'm pretty sure it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
I imagine so.
so
I
you
mean, they can still miss. Like,
well, no, it's
No.
not. It's not an attack roll.
Saving throw.
So they just kind of cough up that acidy like sap, just kind of all over you, and you take 5 acid damage, and you will continue to take 5 acid damage at the start of each of your turns.
Hey, it's a good thing those
Awesome.
attacks were afterwards, because otherwise it'd be automatic crits.
So you can
Or were before you
your
went
your
unconscious.
friends could
Yeah.
your friends could get rid of dousing you in water, like the dousing like the area affected in water. Like 1 pint of water will reduce it by 1 hit point, the amount of acid that is starting to eat away at you. So
Oh, so we need the washer.
you need to wash her thoroughly. So next, Pyro. 2 orange blossoms spit orange goo at you. Give me Constitution saving throws.
Doing them in reverse order now in case he falls asleep.
Well, it's supposed to be orange, yellow, red.
Uh,
I just didn't finish. I didn't finish reading the orange and yellow ones, so I just did the attack rolls first.
I'm just gonna go with 1 first. So I pass on that.
So that is a fail. So Pyro, you fall asleep and are
Do I need
poisoned.
to bother with the second one then?
No,
No.
you don't really need to bother with the second one because you can't fall sleepier.
double sleep.
It's a dream within a dream.
Well, not fun.
So you also get acided. So you now have 5 ongoing acid damage every one of your turns, including right now. They're also, I guess, going to sting you with the...
Pretty
No, that wasn't make any sense, because it's unconscious. Blah, blah, blah. Another creature.
Wait, because of a bunch of fucking flowers.
Yep.
Yeah.
The ones that were next to Azaka, one kind of starts to shuffle towards Pyro, very, very slowly, and the other 2 start sort of cycling around to Jez. They don't quite make it to you, Jez. They only seem to move a couple of feet, but they are definitely getting closer. They're just kind of shimmying their little roots that almost act like feet.
They're mobile.
They are mobile, but kind of barely mobile.
That's good to know. And there's 8 left.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't really help my friends. I'm not exactly the healing type.
Well, Jez, what do you want to do now?
I'm just gonna have to keep whittling down these plants. This is horrible.
Until they all put you to sleep?
Yeah, I wish we had a fucking
Mhm.
wizard.
Couldn't you disengage and
Leave you there to burn?
To die, yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Um. Trying to think if there's anything else I can do besides just try to take them down and not get unconscious. Move up to one of the ones near Wacky, because she's got 3 near her, right?
2. She had 2, Pyro had 2. Pyro's got a 3rd one that's starting to waddle over, and you've got 2 that are starting to kind of waddle over to you.
Are none are melee range with me yet, right?
Not yet, but it's pretty close.
And can I avoid them to get to Wacky's?
Sure. I've got you basically you, and then Wacky, and then Pyro, and then Azaka, essentially, was in a clockwise circle. That's kind of how I had you. As these things basically surrounded you.
I'm gonna attack Wacky. Thing.
Okay. So, yeah, you take a slice at one of them and cleave it in 2.
And I'm gonna take a slice at the other one near her.
Okay.
Him.
You cleave that one in 2 as well.
Okay. We're half done, guys. Guys? Why aren't you talking?
So, Pyro take 5 acid damage. Wacky take 5 acid damage. Azaka shouts down at you. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, why would you just let yourselves be surrounded by tri-flower fronds? They're dangerous.
Why did you tell us to run?
I don't hear this, so I'm not concerned.
So, Azaka weighs her options.
Hey, Azaka, remember these words. These are tricolor fronds. Run away from them. Don't try to attack them, because you'll just get put to sleep and die. Those words would be helpful instead of this.
Instead of the situation we are currently in.
All she can do is fire arrows.
Yes.
She's not coming down after you.
That's fine. Take them down.
So, yeah, there's 5 of them left, and most of them a couple are sort of basically moving through the space that she was in towards Jez, and then there's 3 surrounding Pyro's body, looking to eat him. So she's gonna fire a couple of arrows. She's gonna crit 1. I'm rolling really well for her. Is that enough to kill it? Just barely. So she stabs one of them with an arrow, just pierces right through it, pins it to the ground, and it kind of struggles until it stops moving. The next one, roll damage for that. This might kill it. What's her bonus? Oh, so close! But no, it does not kill it. So she pins another one in place, but it still kind of struggles around, and it's still kind of like grasping at Pyro, but it seems to be pretty damaged, and it's wilting pretty hard. That is her turn. Plants! So one of them, that's going to be an automatic crit. So one of the red blossoms kind of reaches down and starts to sort of wrap itself around Pyro's body. So Pyro, you're going to take 6 piercing damage.
-3.
No, you're unconscious.
Oh.
So you're going to take 6 piercing damage, and you are grappled.
No, princess.
You can't tell. Jez might be able to see it, but as it kind of like
No,
wraps
princess.
wraps
got a mouth.
itself around you, like Jez can see kind of like these spiky thorns kind of start protruding from like the neck of the plant and start like kind of stabbing into him. And you see like some kind of viscous liquid just kind of like running off the little spikes. And you're like, that looks like poison. I would know, I was poisoned earlier. So it looks like Pyro's about to have a bad time. The other two are going to start shuffling in towards Pyro. They're getting close. They're getting close to Pyro. The other two that were left behind.
The Pyro's about to have 5.
Yep. And the other one's, the other one's starting to kind of cut between. It's starting to head basically dead center between Wacky and Pyro. So it could go for either one of them. It's not sure yet. Jez, what do you want to do?
Okay, can I weave and try to get to the one that's currently lifting up Pyro?
From where you are.
Or will I have some resistance?
So basically, the area around where you're fighting right now, basically the circle of plants that attacked you, outside that circle is more plants. So you're probably best trying to stay inside this little close area.
Is going to probably find more of these guys.
Yeah, well, you figure that if you ran around like a crazy person, like all around this thing, you could probably trigger another like 20 some odd plants or something like that if you wanted to.
Good thing we don't have bones.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to.
Well, Bones would be asleep long ago. He would have been devoured by plants by now.
I'm gonna take the most direct route that I can.
Yeah, you basically you're gonna run into a different plant before you reach the one that's
Just
like trying
one,
to
though?
ingest Pyro.
Is it just the one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna swing at this one.
Well, there will be more plants behind it.
Yeah, I know that.
The one that's like wrapped itself around him is probably the furthest one from you. So it was the one at the
gonna-
bottom.
Try to trip him.
So that is not enough to kill it. Sure. I'll say that you knock it down.
I felled the tree.
You basically you kind of like hit it and knock it over and like rip a couple of its little root things like out of the ground, and it's it's now on its side. Just the flowers are kind of scuttling around.
Can I? If I skirt around it, it's gonna get an attack of opportunity, right?
Yes, it will still take a swing at you for being prone. You knocked it prone. You didn't knock it out. It would have disadvantage on it though.
Yeah, I know. That's half the reason why I wanted to knock it down, so I can get around it. So I will risk the attack of opportunity.
Yep. Nope.
Can I riposte that?
I guess so. It's an attack made against you, so I don't see why not. I need an attack roll though.
I just clicked that one first. Coming.
And it's dead.
Then I'm gonna keep going.
Yep. So you run face first into another plant.
This one holding Pyro?
Nope.
Or is it? Okay.
Pyro's the furthest one. You've got 2 more plants to get through before that one. You cleave that plant away. It is gone.
Okay.
2 left.
And then
One in front of you and one, like, not strangling Pyro, but it's just like it's starting to wrap itself around him and drip kind of goo on him and all sorts of wonderful, wonderful things.
is the plants. There's 2 more in between me and Pyro's plant, right?
Yep.
Do they look like?
Well, no, there's
or does
2
it
more
look like-
plants total. There's Pyro's plant, and then there's another one between
Okay.
you and Pyro, essentially.
Then I will. I can't let both of them get Pyro, so I'll get up next to this other plant.
Oh, okay, well, you already are, basically.
Okay.
That takes us to Pyro. So Pyro, 5 acid damage, as well as 6 poison damage. So that was a fun turn. Wacky 5 acid damage. Azaka is going to try and help Pyro out. She takes a crack shot at the one that's strangling him. She basically just flanks down the wall a little bit so she has a better shot at it. Arrow hits it, doesn't let go. Fires again. Barely a hit. Second arrow hits it, and it lets go of Pyro, as it is now dead. There's 1 plant left.
That's right, Princess. You leave me alone.
Orange Blossom, Jez, Constitution saving throw.
Oh, Christ.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm a fighter.
You held your breath when it like shot the pollen into your face. You're like, I
These
know that
20s
trick.
today, dude. Oh my God.
So after that, give me a dexterity saving throw as the yellow one like shoots around and tries to slobber acidy sap on you, which you dodge out of the way of. Then the red one kind of snakes in from the other side as it tries to wrap itself around you. That is a 17 versus AC.
That's a miss.
So the red one
course.
just kind of the red one goes for a leg and tries to wrap your leg up, and you just kind of pull your leg up.
And I'm gonna riposte it.
Okay. And so you riposte it and cleave it in half, and that plant is now dead. And there is no more plants in your immediate vicinity.
I'm glad everyone could see me be awesome. As like I do this acrobatics
So
thing to avoid death. Now I need to.
So you kind of take a glance around your surroundings. You kind of have a clear path to the stairs, like where Azaka snaked through. There are at least a dozen or 2 more of these tri-flower plants in this little area.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as you kind of stick close to like the area you were just fighting in, you imagine you'll be fine.
But I need to find a way. If they're unconscious, I can't make them eat that root, right? Also, I don't know if I know if they have that root.
Yeah, I guess you don't really know if they have that root. And yeah, getting them... Oh, you could also know that... that rubbing it on an open wound would also...
Yeah, but...
Give me an investigation check.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that's not
Can
gonna
we
do.
not, like, remake the saving throws at this point?
After... Well, Jez
Well,
is...
you'll be unconscious before you get the saving throw because of the acid.
Yeah, so essentially, Jez tries to do this. So both... Jez tries to, like, basically root through, like, Wacky's bag, see if she's got anything that cures poison.
Jez has the ointment.
That doesn't cure poison, does it?
No, that's a healing. Damn it.
So that doesn't work. Wacky and Pyro give me 5 more acid damage.
Down to
How
half, boys.
How
Well,
long?
I'm down to 9.
Oh wait, it is. it contains mixture that made slightly of aloe. It regains hit points, and they cease to be poisoned or cured of the disease if this is the same one.
So, actually, I'm gonna do this. Roll 1d4. 1 to 2 is wacky. 3 to 4 is pyro. So pyro. So Azaka jumps down from her perch up above, and you see her pull out like a big canteen, and she starts dousing like all the acidy spots all over Pyro's body. She uses her action to do that. She dumps out like a couple of flasks of her water, reducing it to 3. And she kind of asks you if you have anything that cures poison. She pats Pyro down, looking for stuff. Makes her investigation check. Doesn't really find anything on Pyro. Jez, what do you want to do?
That ointment does cure poison, right? This isn't like a false website. Apparently, I didn't
Yongtum's ointment. I have it written down that it cures poison. Yeah.
Then I will give it to Pyro, and I'll put it on his poisoned wound. And when he wakes up, I'll tell him to cure you.
What was it called again?
Jotun's ointment.
Jotun's ointment.
Yog.
What's the first letter of that?
K.
Okay.
Jotun's ointment. Did you write down how many? It was like 2, wasn't it?
2d8 plus 2 hit points.
No. How
Doses 3.
Ceases to be poisoned and is cured of any disease. 2d8 plus 2.
So I gain 2d8 plus 2?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do I roll that, or does someone else?
No, you can roll that.
Yeah. Doesn't matter who.
Ooh.
Wow.
That's a good one. So, yeah, so you roll that. You smear that all over Pyro. He wakes up. So, Pyro, you are awake.
I'll tell him. Cure her poison. Cure his poison.
So,
I'll like slap a hand on.
You still feel the burning of the acid start to eat away at you. Wacky, take 5 more acid damage. Pyro, take 3 more acid damage.
Azaka was cured of the poison.
No, you're cured of the poison that was keeping you asleep. You are still covered in acid. You gotta basically just wash the acid off.
I'm gonna like reach over to Wacky and just like and like slap her and heal her 5.
Okay.
Well, not heal her 5.
Well, wake her up 5.
Well, it still heals her 5. It's just
when you use 5 HP of the pool to cure a poison or a disease.
Oh, it does. Okay.
It doesn't.
Okay, I can't remember.
Actually heal.
So
it just gets rid of the thing.
So Wacky, you wake up as well.
You feel burning.
You are now awake. You feel acidy burns all over your skin. Azaka tells you guys to start dousing yourselves with water. Get it all off.
Yeah, use up my water.
We'll do the same.
So,
and I will help Wacky.
So it's gonna take a couple of turns to get all that, because basically you gotta like start emptying canteens. Like, you guys aren't carrying around like a gigantic bucket.
You know what would be awesome right now?
We just went and dove into like
a
Wacky
decanter?
knows what I'm gonna say. No. My druid, because he would have had
fucking
create,
hell.
destroy, water.
Well, there you go.
Every session this happens.
So,
Yep.
Wacky, you're gonna take 3 more. Pyro, you're gonna take 1 more damage, and then by the time all that is done, you've washed away enough of the poison or the acid. Too much poison, too much acid, too many things. In any case, you're clean. You guys are able to climb the top of the stairs, and yeah, you kind of get yourselves up the stairs away from the nasty plants. And
I'm gonna be like, let's short rest.
I guess, Zako, please let us know when something is best to run from.
She's like, they looked. Didn't you notice how dangerous they looked? And the fact they were
They
all.
look like flowers.
I didn't know they would knock us out.
And I'll be like, I had the weirdest dream.
Yeah.
The princess was there, just wouldn't get off me.
One of those types of dreams.
So.
Okay, that's great.
So you
Okay.
guys are now up on
There were
top
5 of
of
her.
the big stone ledge that you were that you could see from the original terrace down below. So you're
that's
sitting
it.
about 25 feet above the jungle floor. Like as you look to like your right, like basically after you've gone up the stairs, you look to your right, all the way down towards the south end is that little gazebo-y, like a little gazebo-sized dome. Turning to your left at the north end is this bigger, fancier dome that's like 40 feet in diameter, big enclosed dome. There is another set basically directly almost behind where you just came up is some stairs that lead into the big center dome. And then on the opposite side of the large passageway that leads to the big dome is another set of stairs that goes down into a similar little mini garden like you guys just walked through. There seems to be,
Yeah, we're not.
kind of judging from the symmetry of this thing, you imagine there's 4 of these little gardens sort of at each corner of the big dome. And then there's stairs up here that lead into the north, like basically the northeast one. And you can see from here there's different plants in there. What do those ones look like? Yeah, so you see just a sort of a variety of plants.
Like in
Oh,
plants.
I will also say, yeah, it's been less than an hour, right? Your spell's still going, Jez? I would say it's
Let's
probably
see.
yeah,
They only
10.
searched the other area for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I
and
would
the
say your
other area for
comprehend
10
languages
minutes.
is still
Yeah.
going. Out as you guys sort of made your way out of the area that you were in, you saw some more old Omuan script kind of carved on the wall, like just on one of the walls that you passed by as you were getting the hell out of there, and it read, "Great Ubtao, free me."
I should know I don't read that quick. It takes me like a minute to read a page because I have to.
Yeah, but that it takes a minute to read a page, so like this is
I
a
just swipe my
sentence.
hand across.
You guys were not like you guys were safe enough that you probably would have taken the 5 seconds it would have taken to figure out what those couple of words were.
Okay.
So you saw that scrawled into one of the walls in old Omuan.
Okay. So we're pretty safe up here from these plants. Maybe we should go to the gazebo, but
Can we take a second?
Well, I was gonna say.
Well, you guys
the
are
little
also pretty
gazebo.
exposed. You're also pretty exposed up here.
That's what I was gonna say. The little gazebo.
You
is
may
it
want to
enclosed?
go. So the little gazebo will also require a bit of a jump. There's the wall, or basically the stone ground towards it. You notice about a 5-foot gap as a bunch of it is crumbled away about halfway to it.
Okay.
So that'll require a little bit of tricky traversal. You have the big dome in the center, and then you have the fancier dome. Do I have it? No, I
Yeah,
just have
so-
It is a bell-shaped dome that appears to be completely intact still. It doesn't, unlike some of the other spots, it doesn't seem to have any big obvious holes in its roof and that.
Well,
That's the
It
big
seems
one?
to be the most intact out of all the areas you've seen so far.
there might not be any eating plants in there because they tend to seem to be sprawling over this place. Are the domes clear?
Nope,
Like
it's made out of
polished?
stone. There's like stone domes.
Okay, then that might be the best place because either the big dome or the little dome because
I'll say the
if-
big dome.
if there's
The
no
big dome,
glass,
you from
there's
here
no
you can
plants.
see sort of inside a little bit. There's no door. or if there was a door, it is gone, or flung open, or destroyed. And you can see some like rubble and stuff from here. You kind of get glimpses of a big gigantic statue in the northern part of the big dome. You would probably see bits of it as you kind of like walk back and forth by the stairs. You see what's clearly like a giant stone statue.
So that place isn't very
And
security
that dome too is quite large. Like that's the largest part of the whole thing.
Then we should probably head towards the little dome because it seems the most secure.
Yeah.
How small is the dome? The small one.
He said like 40 feet.
It's 40 feet in diameter. It's probably, it's raised up. It's up some stairs. The dome itself is probably 30 feet or something like that. The walls probably go up straight, like 10 feet or so, and then the dome starts.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one in the center seems to be the one in the center seems to be a couple of stories, maybe. And then like the dome it's a shallower, broader dome, but it looks like there's big chunks of the roof missing. Like the big one looks like it has taken some poundings from the weather and from age.
Yeah. So let's try to hold up in the little dome.
Yep. So you approach it, and it is a set of...
Remember, that's my suggestion.
It is a set of bronze double doors that are nice. Unlike like most of the other stuff you come across, like the doors seem to be pretty much intact, and they're hanging in their frame properly. Like this dome seems to have survived a bit better than everything else, at least that you've come across so far here.
Let's see.
The bronze is probably almost green at this point with age.
I will open. I'll see if I can open the green door.
Okay.
Don't be blocked.
So you swing open the door, and the single large chamber inside the dome is obviously a royal apartment, or was centuries ago. Now the bright floral murals are dim and gray. Bits of colored glass are heaped beneath a cracked mosaic, enameled wooden tables are split and tilting, and every bit of cloth is frayed and streaked. At the center of the room, a long divan stands atop a circular dais. Reclining on the divan is a woman dressed in a flowing robe made from parrot feathers in stunning colors. Despite the heat, her arms, head, and face are covered in feathery veils. Next to her, a black orchid grows out of a large clay pot at the head of the divan. She addresses you in a voice tinged with odd inflections. "Strangers have come to Nangalore, my love. What boon do our subjects beseech?"
Can we close the door and be like, we'll be back later?
That's rude, Byro.
Just watch the cutscene again later.
We're looking for a black orchid for a ritual.
She just sort of beckons, she kind of raises from the divan, just sort of slowly and gingerly. You can't see her face like at all. It is all sort of hidden behind a big veil. And she kind of like beckons you in. It's like, "Please, it is very rude to wait in the doorway and not make yourselves, to not introduce yourselves properly to royalty."
Oh,
Property to royally.
Jesus.
Just a slaver.
Am I able to heal myself as we're walking in? Can I cast that spell?
You could. I mean, I'm
Okay.
sure all sorts of things really love when you start casting random spells when
Yeah.
they're addressing you.
How's those 9 hit points treating you, Pyro?
Well,
He's got
I'm
more
at
than that.
23 because I
At
got
23,
the...
I'm at 12, so
I got that
I'm gonna hang back a
18.
little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. I will step in and I will... Perfect. I will give a bow and I will say, I am Lady Cassiopeia, Lorelei, Gwendolyn, Isabella Harpel, the long saddle Harpels.
Every time. I will also bow and introduce myself.
I will do the same.
I guess Azaka's gonna follow suit. She sees all of you like bowing and just basically like copies you. She's like, you see her like turn her head kind of to the side. She's like, look, my love, guests. It feels like it's been forever since we've had anyone come and visit us. I of course, am Queen Zalcore. Like what? And she just sort of like gestures kind of around the room. Says, welcome to my beautiful garden of Nangalore.
It is very beautiful.
Can we see who she's addressing?
Doesn't seem to be anybody in the room.
Well, like, she's looking in a particular area.
Yeah, she seems to keep, like, looking to her, I guess,
Flower?
right side. She keeps,
to
like,
the
glancing
flower?
over in that direction, but yeah, no, there's clearly nothing there. Or at least nothing
Oh,
you guys
no.
can see.
Oh, good.
No one stays in a garden and stays sane.
I know.
So, yeah, she asked for a boon, and I said that we were looking for the Black Orchid, but there's only one.
Yeah, you see one singular black orchid that seems to be meticulously cared for and growing in, like, a pot, like, next to her divan.
That's probably her
Great.
friend.
Great.
Well,
So
it's on
glad.
it's in a different direction. She's not clearly not talking to the plant.
And so I will say, and who else do we have the company of? Pleasure the company of? If I may ask. I guess you don't really have an answer.
She tells you, it is rude of you to, try and circumvent navigation with royalty. Like, what kind of foul manners do you pale Chiltons have? It's like, you are being addressed by monarchy. Nothing else should concern you at the moment. So what is it that I may do for you?
We were looking for a place to rest very shortly. We thought this looked like an area where we could fortify ourselves.
An area of
We
Great.
thought this dome looked safe.
But of course, if we're bothering you, or anything of the sort, we could always leave. Would not want to impede on anything that you're doing here.
She tells you, it's like, not at all. It has been forever since I've spoken with company. It's like, please. It's like, please stay as long as you like.
We thank you for your kindness.
seems like a trap. I don't know why.
Or, I mean, listen, it probably is.
So I guess we'll try to rest.
Can we short rest?
I mean, sure, you guys can sort of, you see some, like, kind of rotten cushions around the perimeter of the room that you could sit in. There's probably also, like, bits of furniture and stuff like that. There's probably some spots where you can sit down.
Right.
Ask her if she likes music. Ask
Yeah,
her-
she's gonna mind if I start playing a song of rest.
I mean, you could ask her.
That's what I'm saying. Ask her.
That's
My lady, you wouldn't happen to mind if I... you see, my magic abilities come from my music. You wouldn't happen to mind if I would play some to bolster my allies here, would you?
So, She kind of sits up a little. You see her turn to like the side, and she says, "My love, look. One of them is an entertainer. Yes, I would love for you to grace us with a rendition of one of your songs." And she like sort of sits up straight. She sits up straight in like on the divan, very like just straight and erect, like very prim and proper, like you would expect somebody like royalty to sit. Like she's not like slouching or anything at all. She seems to be just like perfect posture, sitting there attentively, waiting to hear your song.
Oh, good. Guess I'll pull out my lyre since I don't think she might be a big fan of the lute. Want me to like, give you a roll?
Sure. Give me a performance check.
Yeah, well, it is.
I have a +10 to this. Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and pull my
Yes.
healing dice.
I can. I would like to as well.
Okay, so you guys start.
Listen, I'm sorry.
The most uncomfortable rest probably ever.
So you start playing, and after your, do you play through the entirety of the short rest?
I don't know. That's something I have to look up.
I can't remember.
What's we get a D8?
8.
So yeah, you start playing, and like after you are done, she gives you like an enthusiastic but very reserved and polite applause. Like she seems to have enjoyed it very much.
If you or any friendly creatures who could hear your performance regain hit points at the end of the short rest by spending one or more hit dice.
So she could regain hit points too.
Great.
Oh, she's got tons of hit points. Don't worry about that. She doesn't need any more.
Besides, she's already at full.
Yeah. That was.
Oh yeah, that's probably the most awkward small talk ever.
So as you guys are sitting there resting, she asks you, it's like, what? It's like, I take it you are not of Omuan descent, or even of Chult, except for you, my dear. And she sort of points to Azaka, who seems extremely uncomfortable to be sitting in this room with this strange woman who claims to be a long dead queen of Omu. Especially because you know that Omu hasn't had a queen in like a good long time.
Yeah.
And you've also met the most recent descendants of Omu and royalty, so you're pretty sure that this woman probably shouldn't be alive anymore, considering this ruined garden was dedicated to her.
Well, the veil of feathers probably gave away that she's probably not exactly pristine. Would Princess Moxwanai, you know what I'm trying to say? Mawaksanare be like a descendant, like a direct descendant, or possibly like just
it would be it'd be the same bloodline.
But
Do
like,
they look at all familiar?
Like, would this be
same?
her great?
You don't. You have no idea what she looks like. Her face is completely covered.
Yeah.
And like her feathered dress is covering like her arms, her legs. Like you can basically there's enough there. There's enough shape that you're able to tell that like it's a woman. But that's about it. And like the voice and stuff like that. She says, What brings... Oh.
I was going to ask her who designed her ensemble.
She says that it's like, I created this beautiful dress on my own.
Birds that flew, probably.
I have worn gowns and dresses of unimaginable beauty and quality, but there's something about this dress that I created myself that appeals to me. You know, many of these birds were they were very popular, or they were some of the favorites of my love, and he greatly enjoyed to watch them fly and listen to them sing. So now I adorn myself with them, so that he may love me even more than he already does.
How long have you been in this tower? This, um, these chambers.
So
Your luck.
she tells you that she's like, it is, it is hard to say how long I've been here. Sometimes it feels like forever, like centuries, but other times it feels like possibly only weeks or a short time has passed. Give me, give me an insight check.
All of us?
I'm gonna say Jez specifically because he's the one that's talking to her. As you were like conversing with her and speaking to her, she kind of gives off the sort of wispy unattentiveness of someone that's
Ghost and they don't know it?
that's like high off of some drugs. You spend enough time with Lawage and his dream pies that you kind of get the hint. You kind of get that she might be
Under the influence.
Yeah, it might be under the influence of something, or maybe she's kind of dosing herself to change her perception of reality, or to, block memories or do something. But you get this sort of wispy, like she's on drugs. She's on the smack real hard.
Yeah.
Explains the ghost man she's talking to.
Or perhaps the ghost man's real. Only she can see him.
Yeah. She just seems high. She's actually able to see into the astral plane.
Yeah, you spend enough time with Lawage, like scarfing down his dream pies, to kind of recognize that sort of wispy, like almost hallucinogenic kind of demeanor.
That what do you want to call it? Ability to just snap out of what they were talking about, and then think for a second.
Yeah, she sort of drifts between extreme, like she seems to have moments of lucidity, and then moments of just like where she's just kind of out there.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to ask her about that, but I will say that we were sent here to recover a black orchid. However, I feel like you have the only one. Is that correct?
She tells you that yes, the black orchids are extremely difficult to grow. They die so easily. Like, I have been nurturing this one for some time. My love, they were his favorite. And, because of that, I've always tried to keep at least one next to me at all times, but they are very difficult. It would be, I could part with it. I am a queen after all. There are many things that, many more important things in my life than just a simple flower, but I would need something of equal beauty in exchange. And she kind of like looks around the room, and she says, perhaps I would give it up if your friend, the entertainer, if you would agree to stay with me. I would allow the others to take the orchid and go.
I feel like Chol is having everyone shack up with some sort of royalty.
Well, you get that when she says that it's not like it's like, hey, just bang me and I'll give you the flower. It's more like, no, you stay here. Like you mine.
I mean, stay.
It's like
stay with.
It's like, I'll try. She's like, straight up, a flower for the bard. Come on, it's a good deal.
I'm like trying to, look normal. I'm just like smiling at her, but with my telepathy, I look over at Cass and I'm like, I'm not the biggest fan of this, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah. I'll just nod my head.
You see her kind of like giggle to herself and then like look to the side. She's like, "Don't be jealous, my love. You know I only have eyes for you. But it would be nice to have some entertainment, some beautiful music to listen to pass the time."
Oh, I wish I had something that played music.
Oh, wait. I have a. Hang on. So I'll say to her, as much as I would love to stay and entertain a queen, it'd be the highest honor. Unfortunately, I am needed for this quest that my companions and I are on. Would I be able to trade you a, like this for your orchid? And I'll hand her, or I'll hold out one of the diamonds that I have.
The big fancy diamond. How much did I say those diamonds were worth?
500 gold.
So give me a persuasion check. She kind of cocks her head to the side a little bit and looks at it. She does seem,
Charisma guy, guys.
she does seem to be taken. She seems to be like taken in by the beauty of the big fancy diamond that you've got. She's like, "What a glorious gemstone! It is beautiful." So she tells you that, yes, I think that would be a worthy bargain for my orchid. I could definitely, I could grow another one of these, but a gemstone of this beauty and purity doesn't come around very often. And she just kind of giggles to herself. She's like, it's like, a queen does love her jewelry. And she sort of like starts giggling and laughing. And you see her kind of like, to like the air beside her, as if somebody else is giggling. And
You guys are like looking at me. I'm probably just shaking.
Because you're afraid.
Yeah.
You're afraid that she's gonna take you.
Of course I am.
so, yep, she seems to be amiable to the deal.
So if I start walking over to the flower, she's not gonna stop me.
Oh,
I would walk towards her first, hand her the
Yeah.
diamond.
Hand
Oh,
her
well,
the
I thought
diamond.
I've already done that. Alright.
okay. So yeah, so she takes the diamond from you and sort of holds it up to the light and like lets the sort of like light kind of sparkle off of it and shine around the room. She seems to be quite enamored with it.
I'm heading to the flower. Just gonna get this thing and go.
Okay, so you pick up the little potted black
And-
orchid.
Can I whisper to Jafar? Can you do that sensey thing you do?
Oh, yeah, sure, I can do that. Detect good and evil.
No, you have sense undead or sense divine sense. That's the word.
What does divine sense detect again?
Presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor. As an action, open your awareness. Location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover. You know the type. Within the same radiance, you detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated.
Yeah, so you, evil energy wafts off this woman, but you are not able to identify her as an undead or a demon or a fiend or anything like that.
That makes it worse.
But yeah,
Over at
you
Cass,
can tell
over at
you can
Jafar.
tell she stinks of evil. But yeah, she doesn't seem to be like a demon or an undead or anything like that.
All of a sudden smells like Vidania in here.
I look over at Cass, I look over at Jafar, and with my
That's-
awakened mind again, I'm like, let's get the fuck out of here. please.
Probably because she's high.
Just hold the pot.
So
Yeah, you got the pot all right.
it's like as you kind of step down from her dais, she kind of like places the gingerly places the diamond on the little end table beside her divan, and she's like, "Please, if before you go, is there anything else that I can do for you? It has been very lonely here, just the two of us, and I do enjoy talking to strangers such as yourselves. You've clearly come from some faraway land to be here."
I
I'll be
have
like,
an inquiry that
oh,
you may actually know. We are looking for Omu.
So she
Would you
tells
happen to
you,
know
she's
where-
like, "Yes, of course I know where Omu is. I am its queen." It's like,
Would you kindly point us in the direction?
she says, "Yes." She's like, "Omu is not the place it was when I was queen, or when I walked its streets and ruled. The people there cast me out and sentenced me to a life here. And many terrible things have happened to the city since then. I like to think of it as they must have fallen out of Ubtau's grace for their treachery, and to think that they could exile me, their beautiful and wonderful queen."
She's been here a while.
Going by how gorgeous these gardens are, Ubtao still shines on you, I bet.
Give me an appropriate check. I guess deception.
Yeah, it's deception.
Oh.
Where's my D's?
mm-hmm.
Oh god.
She is flattered. She giggles and she's like, You flatter this. You flatter me too much. You are very polite, very friendly guests. I'm quite enjoying my time here with you." She says, "Yes, Omu is far to the south, far to the southwest of here. It is between the Fire Peaks and the great iron mine of the dwarves. But Omu is not the beautiful and safe place it once was. It has been coveted by the 1T. Those terrible snake people run amok in my former city."
So like here-ish?
That's probably somewhere.
So
here.
she has never seen a map of Chult before, because
Well, we know where the Peaks of Flame are, so we know there's one point of reference. But
Yeah.
she said it was to the southwest.
So yeah, she tells you it's southwest of here.
Oh, then it.
She says
probably...
she tells you it's between the Fire Peaks and the great iron mine of the dwarves.
Which is the Kobold Mountains, right?
Well, we don't really know what that mining or area is. Like,
Azaka. Wow. I've got to stop critting with Azaka.
If we had the other dwarf,
Wham,
we
wham.
definitely would be able to tell us.
Oh
what it
yeah,
is.
if you had the other dwarf, you'd be halfway there by now.
Unknowingly.
She must be referring to the Wormheart mines. So, so Azaka points to the little mining symbol on your map,
Okay.
and she says, "I believe there were some dwarven mines here, somewhere in the southern tip of the Kobold Mountains."
So we're looking somewhere around here, up here, but I feel like anywhere closer to the valley. It's probably further away from the valley than that, because otherwise, since that part's marked, they probably would have seen it. Maybe.
So, yeah, she tells you that
We have a direction now.
it's like a verse. It's like, perhaps in your travels, perhaps in your travels, have you visited the bird people? There are bird men that live in an old monastery called Cursabal. I have heard that one of my descendants is hiding among them.
Wait, she knows that she has descendants?
Yep.
Oh, wow. So she actually knows she's really old.
I'll be like, oh, we've met. We have.
No, we haven't.
She asks, she was like, does her beauty compare to mine? It's like, surely you've seen my face all over these beautiful gardens that my love created for me.
She hardly comes close.
I will be like, she is nothing compared to you. And that's not even deception.
No, give me a persuasion check for that one.
That's just me speaking from my heart. Just
That's
like,
a
no.
lie.
But I need to as well because I'm telling her the same thing.
Okay, give me checks.
Persuasion?
Sure. I guess I think a lot. It would be a deception
I'm the charisma
from.
guy.
I'm glad I'm not the charisma person.
Oh, wait, did you want a deception instead?
Yeah, I wanted to. It's going to be about the same thing, I'm assuming, right?
Nope, I got a bit more.
Oh, well, I'm just going to take the same roll, but I'll just kick it up to like a 15.
Oh, add 3, so 14.
It's tough. It's tough to get like you're not 100% sure that she believes you or that she really took your compliments to heart. It's tough to tell because you can't see any of her face whatsoever.
There's no facial expressions.
Yeah, there's no facial expressions to read.
If she's gonna insight check me, she will know I do not think highly of the princess whatsoever. I don't think any of us think highly of her whatsoever at all.
I have no feelings either way.
You haven't met her.
She doesn't like you, Cass. She does not like you.
That's fine. Everyone's entitled to
Well.
their own opinion.
It's like, I am not surprised. None of my bloodline could care to aspire to my beauty. But, you know, I would imagine that some of it probably would rub off on her. It would have to. I am, like, my overwhelming gorgeousness would just, like, it's so overwhelming that some would have to trickle down the family tree, as it were.
Maybe it just skips a generation or 4.
She's like, it's like, if you return to see these bird people again, you can tell the little one that her time will come. But I still remain queen of our people, and always will.
I'll be sure to pass on the message. I will definitely be sure to let her know.
It's gonna crush her heart, Pyro.
I
So-
know.
So
Hold my little potted flower.
she asks, it's like I can tell that you want to leave, but perhaps like I can offer you food and drink.
I'll be like, you have shown us more than enough kindness, Your Majesty. Thank you so much for all you have done.
We are unfortunately on a tight time schedule.
She's like, I see. Well, I hope. It's like, please promise me that you'll at least come and visit again. I very much do enjoy your company, and perhaps you could perform another song the next time you're here.
Until the next time our paths cross, then.
I'm just nodding. I don't want to say anything.
Your face has already betrayed you once.
Yeah.
So she gives you like a little courtly bow, and then she just kind of not slinks, but you see her just kind of descend into her divan, like just this graceful, just kind of flawless descent onto it, and she like picks up the diamond, kind of just holds it in the air above her, and just like kind of slowly rotates it and lets it like gleam off the light.
Okay.
And we'll take our leave.
I'm
as
the first
she's
one
doing
out the
that.
door.
Yep.
I'm like, we close the door,
Oh,
get away
God.
from it a little bit before we have any of our reactions.
Yep. So
And I would like to point out that I did not say that we would meet her again. I did not
So-
agree to like coming back.
So Azaka just kind of,
I
you
don't
see
think
her
I
kind of
want
like shudder a
to
little
hear.
bit, and she's like, "Well, she seemed nice."
It was better than the princess.
People shouldn't live
I
that
don't
long.
like them.
And normally I'd think she
That's-
was dead, but did you sense she was dead
Nope,
or undead?
not at all.
So I
It's
don't know what she
evil. It
is.
smelled like Vidania in there.
I have no idea what she was. And she's definitely not a snake person because she hates snake people, so I don't know what she is.
Well,
Let's
she
not
didn't
find
attack
out.
us, so as far as we're concerned, as evil as she is,
Because
like,
we
she
would
didn't attack
know
us.
if the princess was part elf. So. Let's
Yeah, now you know that the people of Omu and like the Chultans in general are humans.
human, yeah.
Yep.
Humans with human lifespans.
Yep.
Not a druid.
I don't really want to be here anymore.
Yeah, do we want to explore the rest of it, or do we want to just like call it?
Oh, I'm
Well,
good. One near death encounter is enough for me.
We either have to lower ourselves away from that forest of stabby things, or
You
go
didn't even,
through the
you didn't
main
even check out
area.
what's in the big dome yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was a
Like-
giant statue we kind of saw.
Yep.
so we
That's
can
all.
either-
That's all you know. That's in the. And you know there may or may not be water of some kind because there's water coming out of the.
About how far off the ground is this area?
You guys are about 25 feet off the forest floor. So
Okay.
there's basically like almost sheer drops. It probably has a very slight slant, almost like a Babylonian garden or something like that on the
Yeah.
side walls. There's also, you did notice when you were sort of going up the steps into the Queen's chamber that there was probably like a big balcony out behind the huge dome in the middle, and then the whole area, there would have been like chunks of statue in the area between her dome and then the one in the other corner, and that entire area between the two was flooded. You also saw like steps kind of leading from her dome down into that back courtyard. Like you would have also seen the doors in her chamber that lead down there. But yeah,
Yeah,
there
we're
seems
not
to be a
going
big
through there.
flooded garden and broken bits of giant statue and stuff like that in behind the giant dome.
So, but we still need to find a way down here safely. That hole in between us and the gazebo, how slanted is it there? Is it just like a sheer?
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
a big jagged crack that just
That-
kind of like just straight down into like the cement.
That could be bad because we could get stuck there.
Does that not lead us straight down to the forest floor?
No, it only goes down as far as the
Main
the
courtyard.
terrace, like where you guys like went looking through plants and stuff like that.
So we get down, so we could. I suppose it wouldn't matter then. We could just lower ourselves 10. Well, not lower ourselves, but lower ourselves 10 feet from here to the terrace.
Yeah, there is just enough room. Like the crack is about 15-20 feet from further down from the start of that eastern terrace, the one that's got like the 3 passageways down to like Water Street.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's about a 10-15 foot drop, give or take.
Not too bad.
Oh, there were more faces on that wall. Or more face.
What was the queen's message to the princess? Tell the princess her time will come.
That was it.
But she said something else. The more
Oh.
important bit. The one that would break the princess's heart.
But she stated that she's still the queen of her
Someday
people.
she'll be as pretty as I am.
That too.
I mean, to be fair, you guys didn't actually even get a good look at her. Maybe the princess is prettier.
I have a feeling that she probably is. No one hides their face if they're pretty.
I don't remember her name, so I just called her Queen Z.
We see
Queenie?
a hard
Queen
time
Z.
visualizing where we are right now.
Yeah.
Well, we're on like
You're on a big, you're on a big stone,
a balcony, but
kind of.
in the
It's
main area.
It's basically 30 feet wide, probably a couple of 100 feet long, and it goes all the way from
It's
her dome.
Kind of like the parapets of a castle.
Kind of, yeah. You're on like a big elevated stone section above most of the rest of the gardens.
Or we have like.
There seems to be
highest level.
essentially this risen section of the garden is like almost a giant H, where the two side parts of the H go between a little gazebo thing and a large dome, like the one that the queen was in, and then the center part of the H, both sides of it lead to the giant kind of amphitheater thing in the middle.
Yeah.
And all of that
Okay.
is risen above all of the other gardens and that are like in the middle of the H.
That what was it? It wasn't a T-Rex. Was it a T-Rex that
It
was
was.
spewing the main water?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
that
that
T-Rex
big enough
head
to
is
crawl
mounted to the big dome thing in the middle.
Yeah, did that look big enough to crawl through?
You don't think so. It was
we
quite
do it
big, but you didn't really notice that the mouth seemed to be
Yeah.
pretty filled with stone.
Yeah, I wanted to see how much water goes through it. Because if we could fit through it, then that would have been a way out.
We could just like book it through that thing.
Do that.
Like what we could
Oh,
also do is you and I could like flank everyone with our shields. Just like
Yeah,
just,
that helps. That helps from falling asleep, right?
we'll hold our breaths, cover our faces with like cloth or something.
So do we? So that's. I mean, like running back through all that is one option. What were our other options, or are we figuring that out?
Well, the other options are lower ourselves down to the right side courtyard that we were in, and skipping that area altogether.
The
Why
other
don't we
option
do
is lowering yourself like 25 feet down to like the forest floor itself,
Yeah.
like outside of the gardens entirely. It's like, well, you guys are like sort of standing around, looking around. Azaka
Are
kind
there
of
any
wandering around,
trees
poking her head.
next to this area that we could jump to?
Not close enough that you'd be able to jump to it. Like
Okay.
there are definitely trees around, but yeah, not within a reasonable distance of the gardens. It's all mostly just like bushes and stuff like that. There's some trees in the garden.
Yeah.
All right, I think I'm for just like dropping down to the right side courtyard.
Yeah.
And like if we really want to, we can free fall it. Feather fall
What?
it. Sorry, feather fall.
I don't know. What that.
Free ball it. You do know what that means, right?
I said
Free ball it.
Oh, I
I
thought you
said
said free
fall.
ball it.
and then I meant to say feather fall.
Yeah, we could feather fall off into the outside.
I'm really glad I picked this up.
Or we could get Dusty to lift us all one by one.
Oh yeah, Dusty's
But
somewhere.
we'd have
I
to go
guess.
and get him first.
Yeah,
Well, we'd have to
Dusty's
get
like way back near the entrance. He's like on Water Street essentially. He's probably holed up in one of those archway tunnels, fast
Okay.
asleep, sleeping on some like a pile of rubble.
Man needed his beauty sleep.
Then we definitely need to get into the courtyard to get him. It doesn't matter.
Then let's do that then instead of dropping to the forest floor.
So we can lower people 10 feet, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
You can also lower yourself 10 feet.
well, that's what I meant. Like, we can lower ourselves 10 feet without having them fall a long distance.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's easy enough.
Yeah, let's lower
Let's
ourselves back
just-
into that courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
Wary of any vines again.
So yeah, you make your way. You lower yourselves down to the eastern courtyard. On the other side of, sort of closer to where you started. So you're back in the eastern courtyard.
Like, I'm curious what was in that other dome, but like,
Probably
Oh, well.
more pain.
probably
We got a boat.
You got a boat.
that is pretty neat.
We got the flower, we got the boat. Let's just get out of here.
So as you guys go and wake up Dusty and tell him you're getting out of there, Azaka eventually rejoins you.
What, she disappeared on us?
Yeah, she wandered off while you guys were taking forever to decide what you were
You're
doing.
like, you find anything interesting, Asaka?
Yeah, she's like, I was just looking at the big dome thing.
What'd you see?
Yeah, big statue, small statue, bunch of ruins, bunch of words I can't read.
Only someone
Pretty-
can read those words.
Pretty pictures depicting all kinds of weird stuff.
Lots of magic items.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of +3 like plate armors and magic swords and stuff.
That's how you get pyro to Twitch.
Yeah.
Tell me
Yeah.
there's a magical instrument in there and I'll be sold.
Just kind of shrugs.
I'll be
She's
like,
like,
"Hey,
oh,
let's go back up."
didn't look that hard.
Alright, no, we're getting out of here. That we've overstayed
Oh,
our
maybe.
visit.
The way we came, we can fly over this place later.
Yeah,
We could land right in that courtyard.
there you go.
That's not a courtyard. It's a big dome.
Or a dome. 'Cause you can see in it, so we could fly in it. That's what I mean. Okay. Let's start making our several-day journey back to Kirsabal.
Yep.
Yep. So give me 3 checks, survival checks.
We're gonna end up in Omu.
Oh, that last one is so good.
Oh
wait,
so,
I have
14,
advantage,
18,
don't I?
20.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, I keep forgetting.
So the first
Thank
one
God.
is not great, but the other
So-
ones are good.
Right.
you guys lose probably a day or so. You lose at least a day as you kind of get
Oh.
lost.
Heal yourself.
Before we left, I think we probably should have filled our canteens and purified it,
Yeah.
considering we wasted it all on acid.
A good
We
chunk
would
of
have
it.
done that.
Yeah.
That's Nangalore. So you guys twist and turn. You guys probably. You guys probably end up like this way. And then like over here. Yeah, you find yourselves on the shores of like a big kind of like a wasteland. I guess shores is not probably the best word for it. You guys end up coming across this giant sprawling wasteland. And you're like, I don't remember this. And you kind of like turn back north and eventually make it
Didn't
back.
they mention like a
Did we see
swamp?
anything in particular at the wasteland?
Eh,
Well, they said that it was to the west, so
Oh, the west.
So, you guys eventually end up just kind of skirting it and making your way back. Technically, you would also be.
We gotta climb the stairs again.
oh lord.
It's like,
There we go.
so I'll forego the check. Now that you guys have kind of remembered the thing, I'll say that you guys make it up in. It takes you a couple hours, but eventually you do make it back to the top of Cursabal. Dusty makes it up in like 5 minutes by just flying up because he can and because he would. So
Listen,
you make it
Someday
back.
I'll fly too.
So you make it back to Cursabal. You're back at Birdtown.
Well, we need to go see Ashara about this. Well, I guess we should make sure we have everything we need before we leave.
What do you
I-
mean we need? We have everything we need.
I'm just wondering if you want to, like... Never mind.
Are you implying that I need something, Karan?
Someone.
Yeah.
Remember
There's
when you had
someone
a
who may
plan?
need you too.
Why have a
Going in that
princess when
direction.
Pyro could have a queen?
No, the queen wants Karan.
For me to be, like, her court jester.
Pretty much. Forever.
Anyway,
You learn
um,
how she lives forever.
more so anything
Oh,
we
maybe.
need to ask about before we leave. We have all our bases covered. Just, I guess we could leave like the next
I
day.
mean, we will mention to Ashara the queen is still alive.
Alive?
Somehow.
Really sure
like-
what's going on there, but I'd stay clear.
Like,
I'd steer clear.
She feels extremely evil, but she's alive.
She also seemed to be super drugged up, so
Yeah, I'm like.
it might be the
demented.
same drug that's keeping her alive.
So she tells you that it's like, well, the queen was exiled to Nangalore by the people of Omu. Like I'm not really sure why, but you know, I have heard rumors that she may still haunt the gardens. I guess you did run into her after all. But I guess she is still there.
Yeah.
If she's as evil and that as you say, I'm surprised you all made it back alive. Did you have to kill her?
Nope.
Unfortunately, no. So she's still there. I'd steer clear.
I was like, well, if she let all of you live, then maybe why would you think she's so evil? Like clearly
Well-
you were
Cattail.
able to treat with her, and it sounds like she treated you quite fairly.
Which
No.
is what
We made-
confusing us.
We made
Speaking of
a
which-
trade.
Is technically the princess evil? Like, is she super selfish?
Would you stop it, cat? Jesus. I will say Pyro didn't really get any senses of evil coming from the princess.
Just like
She
noxious.
just seemed like an obnoxious, selfish
You probably
girl.
just smelled pheromones.
Probably.
Yeah, we traded something of value to the queen for the orchid.
He's like, well, you got it. That's the main thing. It's like when you are ready to leave, I will perform the ritual.
How long is this ritual?
I think it's an hour. She tells you it's an hour. It'll take her 1 hour to perform it.
And
It
is
lasts-
this the start of the next day, or is this near?
You guys would have got here like midday. So, well, you would want to rest until morning
Yeah.
and that, anyways.
Yeah,
You would be exhausted from climbing back up here again. So I would imagine you would stay the night.
So we'll leave in the morning. So we'll do chores for tonight, and I feel like this time, Jafar should have his own room.
No. Does the princess know we're here? I'll ask Ashara, I'm just like, does she know?
I'm sure.
She's like, well, it is a
Kind-
very
kind of
small
stick out.
monastery. Everyone is aware that you are here.
I'm gonna stay in your room again tonight.
Especially because they probably know
about
an
that?
hour ahead of time.
Actually, put Dusty and Jafar in the same room. She won't go anywhere near him.
So Ashara assures you, it's like, there will not be any more incidents with the princess tonight. Not like the last time you stayed with us. I will assure of it.
Thank you. I am most very grateful.
Alright, then we head out tomorrow. We got the swamp. Well, do we even need to go over there now that we know where Omu is?
We know roughly.
Swamp?
You guys were suggested to. It was suggested to you that you visit the heart of Uptau. That there was some elf witch who lived who's taken up residence inside the floating big stone heart.
And she would know
like exactly where Omu is.
Omu.
The other choice you have is to to just go looking for it on your own. But you do also know that that the flight is only good for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So the area you think that Omu is, you don't even know if you'd get all the way there, let alone fly around looking for Omu.
Yeah, and
Okay.
if we get far out there and we're like, oh, we should probably find out the exact location from the witch.
Yeah.
We might not get to it because isn't the heart floating?
Yep, heart is floating.
So we wouldn't be able to fly up there to it.
I could do a quick bit of math now. That's what I got to do.
So I think we
No,
still might have to treat with the witch, and Dusty might get called to live with her.
It's Dusty's turn now.
Yeah.
Has anyone wanted Cass yet?
Nope. No one wants me.
So far.
Probably better
The
than
princess
that
thinks
way.
you're like a little
Troll.
pestilence.
Pale
Yeah.
little troll.
Even though trolls are really big in this universe.
She thinks that you're a little troll.
A goblin.
Yeah, there you go. Well, she would know what goblins are. She would have heard of goblins. There are goblins on Chult.
We've seen goblin dead bodies.
You've seen many, many dead goblins. You haven't seen any living goblins. So maybe all the goblins are gone. Maybe that was all of them. Maybe that dragon committed mass genocide before dying.
I'm sure they were all in that one section of the island.
4 miles an hour. That's the number I was looking for.
And they didn't tell us how many days travel the heart is, did they?
She told you that basically.
A day or so?
Well, she told you it was at the. She kind of gave you a rough idea of whereabouts the start of the wastes is.
I feel like a floating island.
Yeah,
She
basically told you it was like this is the start of the huge basin. That takes up a big chunk of the western part of the peninsula. You figured that probably once you got a day out or so you would see it.
Yeah.
Alright, then we have a plan.
Yeah, we'll probably have to go the last bit on foot, but at least we'll know exactly where it's at. As long as this elf witch is not a witch. Or not a witch, a bitch.
Yes. Okay.
We know she's a witch. We don't know she's a bitch.
Well, witch could mean all sorts of things. She could be a sorceress. Oh,
Yeah.
My calculator is blocking webcams because I'm stupid. I forgot that that's a thing.
Help out around the monastery till it's dark.
Yep, you guys do some chores,
Head out in the morning.
hang out, kind of restock your
Do we
water and
run
stuff
into
like
the
that.
princess?
No. Despite spending the whole day there, the princess does not seem you do not see her anywhere.
I feel like now Pyro's a little bit disappointed.
I'm surprised. I do want to give her the message. I was gonna tell Ashara, but I was like, if we run into her ourselves today, I'll pass it along myself. Otherwise, I'll let Ashara know before we head out.
Tell the princess that the queen doesn't think she's pretty.
No, that wasn't the message.
So, yeah, so you guys go to sleep. You wake up early the next day, unaccosted in the night. You sort of let Ashara know that you wanted her to perform the ritual, sort of first thing in the morning, so you could head out. get like maximum daylight essentially as you fly around.
None of us. We might be able to fly after this, but we won't be able to see in the dark.
I will.
Oh, sorry, the ritual only takes 10 minutes to complete. It's not an hour.
Oh,
Oh.
well.
It's much
Even
shorter than it.
It's a literal ritual. Dusty can cast Identify in the time.
Can Dusty learn the ritual?
No, because he is not an Aarakocra elder.
Also, are you gonna get that flower back?
Yeah, you would also need another black orchid. So, are you guys ready to set out?
I believe
will-
so.
I will tell
And-
Ashara to like pass along the message.
And she's like, what message?
Like, while we were speaking to the queen, she is aware of the princess's like, existence in this
So
monastery.
when you say that, she gets visibly concerned.
And she
she-
said to pass along the message of that the princess's time will come, but for now, that Queen Z is still the queen of Omu.
Like Ashara seems shaken. She's like, she threatened our beloved Princess Moaxanare. And
I wouldn't say
She-
threatened.
it's like, and you just let this happen. You stood by and let her insult the princess, despite her choosing you as her champion. And she seems visibly annoyed at you now. Like, she seems extremely, not angry, but like really upset.
She's not angry, she's disappointed.
No, this goes far more than disappointed.
I'm just gonna be like, well,
Well, you made things awkward, Jafar.
yep. Like, I don't have anything to say. I'm just like,
You don't really are meant not to pass on those types of messages because that's not a good message.
She tells you that perhaps it is not time for me to perform the dance of the seven winds.
I'll fucking
Not-
beat you over the head, Pyro.
Not while the princess is in danger from this creature claiming to be Queen. What's her face? Queen Z. We're just gonna keep calling her Queen Z. Even I forgot what her fucking name is.
Queen Zaranare.
It's,
Oh, Corey.
yeah, it's Zalcore. Is that what it is? Oh, there's like an L and a K and an Ore in there.
I don't think she's going anywhere though.
she seems pretty happy to stay where she is.
I don't think it's happy. I think she can't go anywhere.
Ashara says, well, what happens if that changes? You told her where the princess is and can be found. You know, if she's
was
managed
already
to, if
aware.
it is the queen and she's stayed alive for all this time, you know, what is our simple people to do to the likes of her? Clearly, as she's become some kind of monstrous, powerful creature.
Great. Great.
Looks like we're going back to the garden.
No. No.
I thought it was just musings
Yeah.
of an
Yeah,
insane woman.
Yeah, I thought she was just being like, silly. Like, I thought it was more of like, oh yeah, like she has the potential. She will become a queen. I thought it was like a good kind of thing.
What? You did?
Yeah.
No,
Of
your
course you
time will
would.
come is a threat.
Like her time for like being queen. Her time of like.
Oh dear.
That's why I told her. If I knew it was a bad thing, I wouldn't have said it.
Oh boy.
So she tells you, it's like, I'm sorry, adventurers, but I'm afraid that I can't leave myself in such a weakened state as long as this threat to the princess still looms. And she
Then
just
we'll
kind
go
of bows
back
to
and
you
get
and
her
says,
head.
my apologies. And then she walks out and leaves the room.
I keep the flower.
No, let them keep it, because they can keep it alive.
You don't think she's gonna burn the ritual on something
Yeah.
else?
They can fly. They don't need to know how to fly.
Yeah, you hear her in the next room saying, it's like, well, they're no longer in need of this black orchid. Mr. Simber, would you like the ritual performed now? You said you were next in line.
Let's go kill the queen.
We're walking back to fucking Nangalore.
That is where we will stop. For our...
Bar, you are not talking to these people anymore.
Okay.
I like how it went from stairs to stairs again, Nangalore to Nangalore again.
So we will end tonight's
boy.
session as they contemplate returning to Nangalore and whether or not to do something about this mysterious queen. That will do it for tonight. Hey, my frame's actually held up a lot better. I guess switching to the other Twitch server fixed all my problems. Yay, problems. Now I just need to fix showing up on time problems. Stupid work. Next week we should have Dusty back. He had a thing. He was supposed to do a thing with some people, and
I'm sure Dusty's gonna love the fact that we're walking back now.
Well, I don't think Dusty's gonna care about that. He's just gonna be like, okay, we're moving. We're back here? This will be his
He'll
first...
be just like, what did you guys even do last session?
Jazz did all kinds of stuff, and then you
literally
undid
did
it.
what we said we were gonna do. And then
I
we
gave
have
up a
to-
diamond for this. I'm getting that back if we kill her.
Yep, you will.
That is a
That's a good
possibility
part.
that can happen. So I'd like to thank you guys for coming out. We will be back next week. Next week is what, like the 18th? Yeah, so next week will be our last session until after the holidays, seeing how that Christmas is on a Monday and the New Year's is on a Monday. So next week should be our last session until probably the 8th. I don't know. We're at least taking Christmas Day off, at the very least. Whether we take New Year's off, I'm assuming we probably are. But in any case, I'll have things on Twitter about it either way. So thank you for coming out. We will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Oh, I didn't even put my ending thing up. God, I need to fucking stop streaming. It's terrible. So terrible. So bad at this. Goodbye, everybody.